Hello and welcome everyone. Here we are again with another series here at RaceDepartment.com. This time it's the return of the minis, the mini challenge, season 9 of the mini challenge here at Race Department. And this time it's the first time we're on Automobilista for the first time in its history. Last year, of course, was running it on, of course, Stock Car Extreme, which also had the minis, but now we've moved up to the new Razor Studios title in Automobilista, and
this game too. I've been driving around whenever I can, and also driving on Brazilian leagues. A lot of fun this game. We've got already some drivers on the track, and we expect some really close racing, as it is, just like as it is with these cars.
Indeed, yeah, no, it's going to be some good, very close door-to-door racing.
Right now on Automobilista. As Thomas says, I've been having a lot of fun in this game too. I've been driving around whenever I can, and also driving on Brazilian leagues. A lot of fun this game. We've got already some drivers on the track, and we expect some really close racing, as it is, just like as it is with these cars.
Indeed, yeah, no, it's going to be some good, very close door-to-door racing, I suspect, because again, these cars, being the minis, they tend to promote that kind of racing, so I'm expecting some pretty close battles here as we get into the qualifying proper. It's Jose Lima leading at the moment with a 121.1, but that will improve for sure. Definitely probably going to go down to low 20s, maybe even into the 19s, I would suspect, as this session wears on, as 20.6 there by Erhan there in the number 14 Red Bull. It's a very pretty car, so I've got to say that Red Bull livery looks very nice indeed. He's just posted 20.6. He goes to provisional pole for the moment. But yeah, no, that's another thing I wanted to mention as well. I may as well get out of the way early, Lorenzo, is there are some very pretty cars in this field, I've got to say. It's a very colourful field we have this edition of the Mini Challenge.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. Like, it's very cool to see all these cars, like the blend of colors. It's kind of a little bit of a sexy league, you know what I'm saying? But I'm loving all these cars, all the liveries they put up, and man, I'm really happy to see like this color variation, and all drivers use the creativity and the freeness of putting these cars up in the league.
Indeed, yeah, and see, we've even got our own, of course, we've even got our own broadcast car as well, which is cool. So we go on the server and we get our own little broadcast menu, which is really cool. So kudos for that. That's really awesome. So yeah, no, really cool stuff. And yeah, the very colourful field we have for this edition of the Mini Challenge, and we'll definitely be looking through and the eye candy throughout the season. We might even, maybe during the race, maybe I'll look through and we might mention a couple of little cars that look especially pretty and stuff like that as the race wears on. We will see. But either way, it is now actually Soderberg with the 20.5. He leads now, 1/10 clear of Erhan. Erhan, I think, is just popping out of the lane, I'm guessing, judging from his slow speed there. I'm going to guess he's just popped out of the lane. So he's going to go around the start to learn lap. Of course, another thing as well with Automobilista, it has the track, dynamic track effects as well, of course, like akin to I Factor 2, basically, where the track actually evolves along as it's raced on, so the pace gets better with it as the grip gets laid down, just like in the real world. So that's a really cool thing that AMS brings to the table that Stock Car Extreme didn't have, Lorenzo.
Oh yeah, indeed. It brings a whole different dynamic to the table. Not only those cars have a different feeling driving around the track, also the tire effects now has much more effect into the race. If you don't follow the proper race line, the proper rubber in the track, you're gonna get more wear down the line. But right now, all drivers are keeping it clean, keeping on the same line, trying to drive that same line that everybody's driving, putting the best lap possible. You never know. Right now, the pace is really close, but it should wind down a little bit further down the line.
Indeed, yeah. So we're just going with just under 14 minutes to go, so still early stages of this qualifying session. It's still Hampus leading. At the front, but now it's Franklin Steen, just goes to second spot in the Bose Steen racing car there in that Mini. I get a Bose Mini too. It looks very nice too, by the way. It's not one of the liveries I'm a big fan of, but he just moves into second spot now, 0.061, very close behind Hampus with a 124.54. It's probably going to be a little bit closer anyway to the main pace as we go along. It's pretty close in the top 10, I think, are all under, actually even further down, it's top 12, we're all under a second off the lead, which is really good to see. A few, obviously, a lot of familiar faces that we usually sort of see at these RD leagues and so on. It's good to see, by the way, I just noticed, I was noticing it in practice, and I'm noticing it again here in the qualifying. One of the Lemtech boys, he was in the Super V8 league, we just had finished in the last few weeks. It's Paul Limasara. I think I made a mess of that, but either way, he's in 13th for Lemtech, which is really good to see because they were a little bit further down in the V8, so it's good to see them a bit further up the field. So obviously the Minis a bit more their sort of car, so it's good to see them getting some good results. And I was just thinking that, Lorenzo, it's going to be interesting to see how everyone goes with these cars because it might sort of be a bit of a mix-up of the field because we could have some guys who are a little bit better is in these as akin to something like a Super V8 or a stock car.
Oh yeah, indeed. The balance of performance in these cars, it's much more neat, much more smooth compared to the V8s. The V8s are more like untamed beasts down the track, so a little bit of fine tuning is required. But these mini cars, they pack a little bit of punch. They pack the closest door-to-door action. You can actually hit them a little bit. They actually got to take that punch. But in terms of tuning, there isn't much to tune on these cars. In the Brazilian league, you couldn't tune much. These cars do a little bit of fine tuning, so it came more down to the driver level than actually the tuning level. How well you actually set up the car. Setup always plays a part on all races. More to the driver is more. Let's just say 75% driver, 25% setup.
Indeed, yeah, no, it's very true. It's definitely, and I've known, I think R Factor 2 from memory. I've heard. Oh, apologies, my is that in the stream on Race Department. I played an ad. Thank you, ad. So no, I was just going to say with R Factor 2, I think it'd be similar with this as well. I think it's really a lot of the modern. More modern simulators is that it is a lot more driver now. I think it was R Factor back in the day. A lot of it was set up so you didn't have to be an amazing driver. You could just get a really good setup and you'd just be able to be right up there purely on setup. Whereas I think now the more modern titles, probably more realistically really as well, it seems that it's much more about the driver now. I mean, setup helps, but you don't have to have an absolutely ace setup to be really good. I mean, if you've got the talent, then you can still be up there. So that's what I think I've been noticing with some of the more modern titles, which is really good to see. Because it's always good to be able to promote that kind of thing. So I think that's where it should go. But Ern, by the way, has gone to the top in the Red Bull liveried Mini, a 123.09. So he now takes the provisional pole, 0.084 clear of Hampus there. So very close at the top of the field. Theo Van Brink is in 4th at the moment for Kika Racing. And Jose Lima is 5th at the moment for Sonic Racing 2. Craig Patterson, Priority 1 Motorsports, he's 6th at the moment. It's good to see him up there again. He was one that will be familiar from the Marcus series we had recently. Obviously, the RDTCC before the season before the last we had, but was using the Marcus. He was in that and had some really nice results. So good to see him up the field again here in the minis. Sean Jacobs is 7th at the moment. Sean Jacobs Racing, another very pretty livery, that one too. A bit of a purple and black kind of job. It looks very nice, actually. Very big fan of that. It's Racevan there in the Caterpillar Mini. Again, another pretty livery again. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be saying this about pretty much every livery, but anyway, he's in 8th. And it's another major company kind of livery. It's Fujifilm for Wolf Racing. That's Alec Dominicantio. I think I got the baker right.
Dominicantonio.
There we go, Dominicantonio. There we go. I got it. Thank you for that. Lorenzo saving the day. And 10th spot for Orion Racing is Fred Locklear there, and that's also not too bad a livery. A bit more, not quite as colourful as some other ones, but still looks very nice with that sort of yellow and black and red there as well. And that's your top 10. Then actually Bran there, who obviously is one of the admins here at Race Department, is also in this league. He's in 11th at the moment, just outside the top 10, so it's good to see him going along nicely. And obviously got a few more familiar faces. Thomas Pazzi is another familiar face from last few seasons of RTTCC. He's 14th at the moment. Will New, he's another familiar face from recent RTTCC series. He's 15th at the moment. Again, another very pretty liveried car, very interesting car. It's like, as someone I think it was actually the girlfriend I was looking through the grid, and my girlfriend was just looking over the shoulder, and she mentioned this is almost like a two-faced car. That one, that his one is Will News, and that's kind of true actually, because it's got the black and the yellow. It's kind of, you could say, a bit like two-faced really in a car. So there you go,
Hmm.
interesting observation. But yeah, so we are going along. We've got just over 8 minutes to go in this session. We have, I think, there's still one driver yet to do a lap. Sorry, two drivers yet to do a lap. And one of them actually is the Scuderia course car, number 62. That's a Monster Energy Drinks liveried car. And I was mentioning just before the broadcast, I really like that car. It looks very nice, Monster
Oh
Energy
yeah.
Drinks. So hopefully we'll be able to get some action of them, or his car and other very pretty cars throughout the race as we go along. But looking pretty good at the moment, Lorenzo. It's very close to the top, though. Point under a tenth between first and second. So we could have a very interesting fight at the top of the field if this pace continues in the race.
Oh yeah, and I think that will carry out to the race too. Like, does the 1 second difference goes up to 14th. From first to
Mm.
14th, the difference is 1.05. So, and from 1 point, and one cool thing, like if you go to 14 and 15, the difference is just 1,000 of a second.
Mm.
So it shows like how balanced these cars are, in a track that is highly technical and also very fast too, depending on where you're at. So it's good to see the driver level of this league is very high with cars that you usually don't see in other leagues that we go around, and it's actually a very cool car to drive. I'll tell you this much.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
by the
no,
way,
it's
Franklin
oh,
jumped onto the lead. Franklin Stange's now on the
oh,
lead.
yeah, good point. Yeah, so Frankenstein does a 20.241. He now takes provisional pole for the moment, just beat edging out Erden there by under a tenth again. It's 0.068 this time. So very close indeed at the top of the field between the top three. And there's a bit of a gap of a few tenths back to Craig Patterson in fourth. In the Priority One Motorsports Mini, again, another very pretty livery. There, a bit more of a whiter livery than a couple of the other ones we've seen, but very nice livery indeed. But yeah, very close to the top of the field at the moment. Could be really any of those three could challenge for the pole. And again, they're all very quick drivers. Franklin, of course, actually recently drove against Franklin in a club race using the Lancers, the Lancer Cup in the AMS sim. It was a very fun race too, actually. I think it was an hour-long race. And yeah, me and him had a very nice battle at the top of the field during that particular race. It was very fun. So he's a very quick driver, Franklin. He definitely knows his stuff. So I've been expecting him to be definitely up the top pointy end of the field throughout this series. As we go along, just under now 6 minutes to go. We just passed the 6-minute mark. As you say, it's very close throughout the whole field, really. It's almost got to go almost in halfway is within a second of the lead, which is really nice to see. And then even between sort of 13th down to even sort of 25th is all within a second for those guys as well. So it's very close at the moment between the drivers, which is great to see. Should promote some fantastic racing throughout the race to come. And yeah, looking forward to this a lot for sure. And this is all very promising. I'm very, very keen to see this now with all this pace being so close. It's going to be very, very fascinating to see how this all goes. So we are just over 5 minutes to go. Franklin is in the lane, as is Ernan. So it's actually only Hampus is the only one out there of the top three lapping at the moment. I suspect Ernan and Franklin are probably going to wait until maybe the last few minutes, then probably head out and do a last run. I think they're probably just thinking they may as well wait. And not bother going out now because they probably feel like they've got pretty close to the top pace. So I'm interested to see if anyone can go in the 119s. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on these cars, Lorenzo? Do you enjoy driving these?
Oh man, I like driving around the minis. I actually was very fortunate to see these minis in action once in real life around Tatumap, because these cars back in the day, they were the support league for Stock Car Brazil. They were really that fine close action, really good to see. But I like driving these cars. They have that touring car feeling, but they're not that all touring car. They have that fun factor. They're more like a fun factor than a serious factor.
Mm.
But I love, as I said once, more than once, I love driving these cars. They're so fun to drive. They require certain skill to actually to manage the car tires and how you enter the curve or not. But they're cool to drive. I don't know what you feel about those cars, Thomas.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I haven't had too much experience with the minis. I've only sort of done some brief laps with them, both in stock car extreme and in AMS. But I have given them a bit of a go. I think it was a few days ago. I had a little quick spin of these cars, and they were really good fun. Really enjoyed it. I didn't really tweak anything, keeping in mind it was all just basically loaded up and just had a quick go. So there's no real tweaking or anything setup wise. It was all very just have a fun go. But yeah, I was enjoying it. I had good fun. Good fun little cars from I've noticed to drive. So not too ridiculously challenging to drive, I thought, but not too easy either. Very. I could definitely see them promoting that really close door-to-door racing that they're pretty much famous for at this point. So, yeah, very good fun cars to drive. I'm sure all the guys in the field at the moment could agree with that. It is still Frankenstein leading at the moment. The top three actually is still the same. Hampus has been able to improve. While he's been lapping in the last few minutes, he's still best of the 20.393 for him, and he doesn't improve that lap either. So he's lapping pretty consistently by the looks of it, but he just can't get that extra bit of pace to move up the field. Harrison's still in fourth. That's for Priority 1 Motorsports. And Sonic Racing 2 is actually the second sort of tier Sonic Racing for Jose Lima in fifth. Theo Emmerich dropped down to sixth now. It's actually really close between those three as well, from fourth to sixth. They're all even under half a tenth of a second as well. Craig Patterson just changes that, and he now improves to still in fourth, but improves by about a tenth. But no change of position for him. I did see someone else change too. I didn't pick up who that was, but I think someone else changed as well. Brand, by the way, has got up into ninth, so he's nipped into the top 10 now, which is good to see. And that, I think, just put Sergio Menguel just out of the top 10 now. I think he just snuck into it before, and now he's back out again. So there you go. Yeah. So we're just going on quite nicely. Just have 10 minutes to go, and we're getting into the business end now, Lorenzo. Everyone will be getting into their last few laps now.
Yeah, right now I think it's more like, if you got a chance to drive, try to get a clean traffic, put a good lap in. Right now the rubber on this track should be good enough for you to put some good laps. But as the pace this is going, you're probably, if you go out right now, it's still gonna get a lap on and try to do your best. But for those, I think on the top front, the top three, they are very like with a mind thought of, I got this lap. I'm very satisfied with my position. This is one track that actually doesn't favor the position you are on. The first curve is actually really good to drive. It doesn't allow a lot of incidents. So right now, I think those who aren't in front, they are comfortable with their having. I want to see what the race is going to bring down the line.
Yeah, indeed. No, it should be a fascinating race. Of course, we'll mention during the warm-up the actual format of the race. We'll just get through the end of qualifying before we do that, but it should be a fascinating race. A bit of an endurance one in a way, I feel like with its length. It's a little bit of a mini enduro, I think, which is going to be very interesting to see with these cars and see how it all pans out. So we are just under a minute now, about just over 40 seconds to go in this session. Everyone will be doing their final laps. Interestingly, Frankenstein and Ernham still in the lane, so I think they're pretty happy with where they are. They obviously think they can't really improve anymore, so they've decided to stay in the lane and end it there. Craig Patterson's also in the lane, so he's done. Alex is done as well in fifth. Jose Lima is also done. Actually, a lot of the top 10 is just deciding to call it there, which is interesting to see. But Hampus is still going. He's been going along for a good 5 minutes plus, I reckon, just consistently lapping and lapping and lapping. And I think he improved last lap just, but it wasn't enough to go up any position. So he's been definitely putting in the laps and the hard work, but he just doesn't seem to quite have that extra little bit of pace he wants to be able to go up any positions. So the timer now runs out. Anyone on their lap, or anyone who's on lap, this will be their final lap of the session. Who is that? Someone's just crossed line. Sean Jacobs, and he didn't improve, so he stays 8th. I think Razvan as well may have just crossed the line and not improved as well. Fred Locklear crosses it and doesn't improve either. I think there's actually not too many on a lap. I thought there'd be a bit more on a lap. It looks like a lot of people have just decided to call it early, obviously thinking that they couldn't improve anymore, and just calling it early. But we will keep an eye on Hampus Soderberg in third, because he is on a lap. This is his final lap of the session, as he's been going on 14 laps. Interesting to note too, Ernan in front of him's only done 6 laps, and then Franklin's only done 8 laps, and then Hampus has done 14 laps. So very interesting to see the difference in how many laps that the drivers have been doing. Most drivers have done 10 plus, but a few of them have done under that, which is interesting. So a bit of a maybe of note for the race, just to see sort of shows who's more comfortable in these cars. But he's just coming through the final corner now. Is Hampus in the number 7 Mini, As he exits now, the final corner uses all the road a little bit more on the exit, so he's definitely doing all he can. Let's have a look if he improves. He doesn't, so stays third. Oh wait, the line's there. Sorry, I got confused where the line was, but he doesn't improve anyway. 20.391 is his best, and he stays third. So I think that's pretty much everyone done with the lap. So there you go, qualifying done for round one here of the mini challenge, season 9 here at Race Department. And Franklin Stang has pole 0.241. It's earning there in the Techno Max Racing. Again, that Red Bull liveried mini is second, with Hampus Soderberg third. Craig Patterson fourth in the Priority One Motorsports, with Alex Theron fifth in the Fujifilm car. That's Jose Lima in sixth, Theo Van Brink seventh. Sean Jacobs is eighth. It's Razvan in the Caterpillar car is ninth. And then Bram rounds out your top 10. So good stuff from Bram there to nip into the top 10 and round out that. So, yeah, there you go. So it's a pretty fascinating qualifying session, Lorenzo. And for me, that is very, very promising for the race to have some very close racing.
Oh yeah, indeed. Like, the race is going to bring a lot of action, I can tell you this much. Qualifying was really close. The pace from first to like the 1 second pace, like still 1 second in, was from first to 13th, still from 13th till basically in the 20th. They're still close. So every driver, regardless of where you start or where you're finished, is going to have a chance, especially with these cars. And as we're going to explain down the line over here right now, warm-up has just started. We're going to explain a little bit how the race works. You're going to see a little bit of techniques or strategies played into work, because, as said, this is an enduro race. So as everybody has a shot, depending on how well you drive and how clean you keep up.
Yeah, indeed. No, very true. So it will be interesting to see how this all pans out for the race, how it all goes, and who are the victors, who will be the losers, how it's all just going to be basically in this race, and how it all pan out over the course of its running. So details on the race may as well go now in warm-up, just so that you guys are all aware of what is to come for the race. It's a formation, so there will be a formation lap, so I'll get a formation lap, and obviously they'll all line up on the grid, and then it'll be an 80-minute race here for the first round of this season. And that'll be each race, 80-minute races. So as I said, sort of a longer than normal, not an hour long, but not sort of an hour and a half or 2 hours. So sort of a little bit of a mini enduro, I feel, in these minis. So it should be a very fascinating race, and it would definitely, it's going to really, the field will definitely be tested, I feel like. If you do make a mistake early on, I feel like you'll have a bit of time to possibly come back to the field because of the length of the race. So we will see how it all goes. But yep, 80-minute races, to say. And I think it was a 1 minute 20 per lap here, so you're probably looking at something like 65-ish laps or so in these cars, I would guess. I mean, although again, I could be completely wrong because my maths is notoriously terrible, so I'm just guessing.
Mine
yeah,
too.
I'd say roughly. Yeah, it's all right then. We're equally bad at maths. It's all good. So yeah, so I'd say about 65 or thereabouts for this race. Also, I did notice in the Twitch chat. There, so I'm just mentioning, I suspect just mentioning about one of us having sounding very nasally. I'm guessing you're referring to me sounding a bit nasally on the broadcast. Apologies for that if the quality for my voice isn't perfect. The mic I have isn't top of the line. It does the job. It's not anything spectacular though, so apologies in advance for that if my quality of mic's not the best. It's the best I can do at the moment. But either way, we've got about just over 7 minutes now for warm-up, so everyone will just do little final checks for the cars and for them, and make sure they've got the fuel right and everything like that, and then we'll be green to go for the mini challenge for season 9. So it should be a really nice race ahead there, and so I'm very, very excited, to be honest.
If you want to sign up for club races and all the other action that goes into our minutes of full pack battles, strategies, fuel, like everything planned out, is going to be really cool to see. Two things actually I want to say before we even go to the race. First of all, you sound very nice, Thomas. Let me just say it this much.
Thanks, man.
The second thing is, if you're like watching the broadcast, you want to see real further club action and down the and leagues also. We have some other leagues coming up really soon. We got the IndyCar League coming up. Please follow us on Twitch, like us on Twitch, subscribe, and keep yourself up to date on also RaceDepartment.com if you want to sign up for club races and all the other action that goes into our sim racing world.
Yeah, no, good point there. It's a good time to mention that. So yep, as Lorenzo said, if you want to keep in touch with what we're doing here at Race Department and with all the leagues that go on here. As you said, the IndyCar League is starting up soon, I believe, later this month is the first round. I think it's a monthly series, that one. That's going to be the
Yeah,
calendar for
May
that. So they'll be
21st.
starting. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so they'll be starting very soon. That should be a really fascinating series because again, those Indy cars and R-Factor 2, very good fun cars to drive. Not exactly easy, that's for sure. They're a bit of a handful to get the hang of. I found that out when I tried to use them. Probably I think a few weeks ago I tried to have a good run in them and it wasn't that easy, got to say. So yeah, they're not very easy to car to drive, but really
Oh yeah.
interesting. They promote some very close racing, so it should be really nice that league in R-Factor 2 that'll be using the Indy cars there. So there's that one. There's obviously this one. There's all the other future leagues that'll be going on. If you subscribe to and follow, the Twitch channel here at Race Department, then you'll be kept up to date on all the goings on league-wise at Race Department. Obviously, RaceDepartment.com is the website if you want to get involved with club racing, so then you can eventually get into leagues like this one and go over there, and you'll be able to sign up for club events and the like. And yeah, should be really, and obviously YouTube as well, Race Department at YouTube. That is the YouTube channel for the website, which I'm pretty sure all the broadcasts get uploaded to our YouTube channel after they are done. So this one will be up there after it's done live. And there's also obviously the past leagues as well. We've got the RDTCC, most recent season with the Super V8s. That's up there on YouTube if you want to go back and have a look at that again and watch through the excitement of that series once more. And yeah, so that is all of that. We're just over 4 minutes to go in warm-up, and it reminds me of club events. I actually got to sign up for one, actually, that reminds me of. It's something I'm coming in the next couple of days. It's an Aussie one, which is great for me, because it means I'm not up at ridiculous hours to do it, so I'm going to sign up for that one. But yeah, some great racing at Race Farm. The clubs, as I said, club racing, very nice scene to get into, I think, because you can have a lot of fun battles. I've had some really fantastic battles in it, but it's not got that really serious element that, a league like this would have. It's all just a lot more fun, isn't it, Lorenzo? So it's a very good way just to sort of have a bit of a casual run without, massive, the league sort of side of things on.
Oh yeah, indeed. For us, fun matters first. So if you're having fun, regardless of what you're driving around the track, what track you're driving, what league you're driving, if you're having fun, is always good. I've always had fun driving around these leagues and club races. I've been running here for the past year. I've raced in RDTCC 9. And I've always enjoyed driving around these leagues, and you never know. The future is so great. We got upcoming leagues, and I'm really excited. What sim racing world provides us with all kind of content, all kind of races down the line.
Yeah, indeed. It's all going to continue improving, of course. We've got obviously AMS is in in sort of beta at the moment, so it's still being developed as we go into the future. So you can only really get better, I suspect, from here with this game. And obviously, R-Factor 2 is always improving. Then you've got Race Room as well, and then you've got a set of Corsa as well. And there's just that it's just the roster keeps growing. There's so much choice now with where you can go for your sim racing fix. That it is really nice to see. As sim racing, it's slowly picking up steam. It's becoming more known to the wider public. It's getting real world racing drivers are starting to back it more. They're starting to use it more, so it's getting a bit more exposure to people in the world, which is really good to see. It's good to see it becoming a bigger community than the sort of niche thing that it has been for quite a number of years now. So good to see. We're just over 10 minutes to go in the warm-up. At the moment, Hampers has actually got the fastest lap at 20.78 as the driver's preparing for the race start. He's actually battling with Graham at the moment as they go through the final corner, which is interesting to see. He's battling one of the head honchos here at Race Department. But yeah, no, it should be a really fascinating race. I think we're going to have some good battles. I'm expecting there to be anyway. As the top three all very close on pace, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. I saw in the chat there someone mentioned about yes, there's someone in the chat saying that apparently Hampus is very fast in the race, so we'll see if he maybe has a bit of an extra gear that he uses in the race where he can maybe challenge the top two for the win. Really, it's going to be fascinating. I don't know who to pick, to be honest, because I think any of the top three or even top five, to be honest, could probably challenge for the win. But I think I'm going to go. I think I'll go Franklin, to be honest. I think I'll go Franklin Steen because he is a super consistent driver, super quick as well. Is Franklin. When he's on point, he's really hard. He's one of the hardest to beat. When he's really got the car tuned up, and it looks to me like he's got this car really tuned up to a T. So I'm going to back Franklin, I think, for this one. But I could be entirely wrong. Who knows? Someone else who we haven't even thought of could win it, which would be fantastic. But my guess is going to be Franklin for me. So that's my pick for it. So Lorenzo, who's your pick to possibly take the win here?
Good question. Oh my gosh. Okay, if I have to pick a driver, like, I'm probably gonna pick a driver down in the front. It's gonna be Ern Jajovski. I've seen him drive in a set of Corsa Automobilista. He's really quick. He's a very technical driver. Like he reminds he reminds him a little bit of Oscar Hardwick of some sorts. Which, if you guys don't know, watching us at home, Oscar Hardwick is our RTTCC 9 champion and runner-up in the RTTCC 10. He's a very composed driver, really quick, highly technical. Uh, I'll pick him because he's a very clean driver around the races. He drives clean, he drives hard, consistent. But you never know. This is 80 minutes. One thing, actually not releasing in our leads, is tires and fuel. They're not up to normal. They're actually 2 times quicker. They go 2 times quick than our usual tire and fuel go. So down the line, you never know. Even the first place might be in the bottom one, depending on how the driver technique goes and how the strategy goes. Like, everything has now to be put to part, and our warm-up has finished.
Indeed, yep. So warm-up is done. So we'll be heading to the race very, very soon. Yeah, as Lorenzo just saying there, it's 2 times on the tire and the fuel usage. So it's 2 times as harsh as it usually would be in normal conditions. So keeping that in mind, so it should throw a bit of interesting thing in terms of strategy, seeing what the drivers do and who pits when and all that kind of thing. So just finished warm up now, and we are just about to go to the race and get this season underway for the mini challenge here at Race Department. Back again after the last season at Stock Car Extreme, obviously first time on AMS, on Automobilista. And as I said, should be a fascinating season ahead, as we said, with the game, with AMS, with its the dynamic track grip levels that change throughout the race and all that kind of stuff. It should be really interesting to see how this all goes. So we are just waiting for the timer to go down, and of course now we'll go on the formation lap for these guys. They'll do the formation lap and then come around and we will start the race proper. So going through the field again, it's Franklin Stinging who's on pole in the Bose Mini there. Then it's Ernan there, and the Red Bull Mini is second, number 14. Hampus Soderberg is third in the number 7 Mini, with Craig Patterson's Priority 1 Motorsport in the number 71 Mini. He's fourth. Alex there in the Wolf Racing car. I think it's the Fujifilm one. Yep, Fujifilm one, number 76. He's fifth with Jose Lima fifth for Alex, sixth for Jose Lima. Theo Van Brink in Kika Racing car, seventh with Sean Jacobs in eighth. Razvan there in the Caterpillar, number 13 Mini Cooper is ninth, and again, a very pretty delivery is that one. Bram there is 10th, Rory Pipes Maniacs team, the all blue Mini there, so that's going to be a bit of a standout car. Fred Locklear in the Orion Racing Mini is 11th, with Sergio Menguel 12th. Thomas Pazzi 13th for the Banzai TCC team. Very nice team name there, Thomas, I gotta say.
Banzai!
Bruno Costa. Exactly. Bruno Costa is 14th in the third Sonic Racing cars, with Lentec there, Paul Lemasura in 15th. John Sauter there is 16th. Ginger's Rule League, nice team name there. Indeed, very colourful car as well. Frank Van Overen is 17th, with Will New in 18th, and starting from the lane, which is interesting to see. So he may have accidentally missed the line, so he'll be starting from the pit lane, which is a bit of a shame for him. Ricardo Martins is 19th for the Sonic Racing teams. Oh no, 20th, one of the Ventex, Ian Limasira, has just spun on the formation lap, so a bit of an awkward one for him. It doesn't look like he's got any major damage, so he should be able to continue, but awkward times there. Adrian Breziano is 21st for this sports car driving evolution team. Chupa Chumps RT team, Sergio Sanchez is 22nd, with Bjorn De Haas is 23rd. Alex Swerts is 24th. Louise Matias is 25th. Another third Sonic Racing team is Jose there in 26th, with Estebanez in last till 27th. The Monster Energy Drinks car of number 62, 28th. And I think running out the field is Pedersen there in the Pedersen Racing number 58 Mini. So just got through the field in time for the race start, and we should be just about heading into the start any time now. I'll just go on board with Franklin so I can see the lights. Just waiting, I think, on the last car to get lined up. Here we go, the lights counting down the start of the mini challenge for this season at Race Department, and we are away here for this 80-minute race in round one, and it looks like a pretty even start, really. No one at all in the top 10 even has got a major jump. It's all very even as they go towards turn one. Now, Thunder down towards turn one, these minis. And again, yeah, it's all very even. I didn't see anyone get a particularly amazing or poor start, so it's all very even, but Evans, they're going to have on number 14. He's got the inside line of turn one. I think he's going to take it. He is. So he takes the lead from Franklin staying off the line. Good start from him in the number 14 mini, but Franklin is right there and he's looking around the outside as they head towards turn two, but there won't be any moves there. So there you go. So Aaron gets the early advantage, but Franklin Steen is looking very racy already as he's side by side down towards the back part of the circuit. On the outside again, actually he's backed out of. Okay, good stuff there from Franklin. Although look at this, it's Hampus Soderberg. Oh, has a look down the inside.
Close. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think there may have been a bit of contact there between those guys as they went through the corner. As Hampus had a little bit of a look. There wasn't really room, but they get through in the end. But there may have been a little bit of door whacking there as they go through the opening lap. But aside from that, everyone else is pretty even at the moment. No one else really has majorly jumped up the field or anything like that. It's all pretty standard, although someone apparently is DQ'd. Will News got DQ'd from the session, so that's a bit interesting. I don't know what's happened there, but yeah, all good times for Will New there. So it is Ernan leading, but look at this angry pack of minis there right behind him, Lorenzo, as we end lap one.
Oh yeah, man, close racing from the start. All drivers keeping it clean, no major incidents on lap one. Everybody driving side by side. This is what Mini provides you with a very close action racing. And I'm liking this top three battle. It's being very hard, but very clean thus far, and with a lot of emotions down the line.
Yeah, indeed. No, I definitely agree. This top three battle could be very fascinating. Interesting to see as well that Craig Patterson's actually holding on pretty well. I say he's holding on nicely, and then he goes wide through the right-hander, but he's sort of hanging on nicely at the moment, Craig Patterson. He was about, I think, 3/10 off in qualifying, so he was kind of in a little bit. He had about a 10th back to 5th behind him, but he was about a 10th or 2 off the top three, so he was kind of in a bit of a middle ground there in 4th spot. So we'll keep an eye on him. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he can challenge the top three. It'd be good to see the top three challenged by the other guys further down the field, but we are going along nicely now, and Ernan is still leading. He's actually already opened up a nice gap of about half a second or so on Franklin Stinging there in 2nd spot. Yeah, it is there 0.587 at the moment is the gap. Franklin's got Hampus Soderberg right behind him. He's still fighting for that 2nd spot. And I would say, Ernan, if I was in Ernan's position, I'd be really hoping that those two behind have a nice little bit of a tussle, because that would just mean he can just gallop away and control the race from the front. So he'll be hoping that these two get in a nice little scuffle. And I'll tell you what, it's looking like that might happen, because Hampus is right behind Frankenstein as they go down the straight. I reckon he'll have a look down to turn one, surely. And yet there he goes. It pulls out to the inside as they head down towards turn one. I don't know if he's pretty much alongside him as they enter the corner. I think he may have the position. We'll see if he can hold it through turn one.
Yeah.
It looks like he can. So yeah, very nice move from Hampus there. Very clean as well. So Hampus gets it done. And he now moves up to 2nd spot, and Franklin Steen down to 3rd. So from pole to 3rd in the opening minutes of this race for Franklin Steen. So it's interesting to see him just seem to be struggling a little bit on race moments. So it might just be needing to get used to the car a bit, get himself into the groove a little bit, as it seems like to me Hampus and Ernan have a little bit of an advantage right now in this early phase of the race. I was just thinking as well with Will New, I may have a suspicion as to why he's DQ'd. If I'm not actually entirely sure if AMS does this, but if AMS is like R Factor 2 with when you start the pit lane, I think you have to wait until the whole of the field goes through Sector 1, I'm fairly sure, until you're allowed to enter the race. So it's possible that maybe Will New tried to enter the race before that time had arrived, and then he just got DQ'd for entering too soon. So that would be my guess as to why he got DQ'd from the race. Again, just guessing, I'm not entirely sure how that works with AMS. But either way, it is Ernan leading at the moment, number 14 Mini, the Red Bull Mini, by about a second. They're just about to cross the line, and once they do update the timing, and it's a second. He's slowly opening it by probably about half a 10th or so each sector. So he's looking pretty strong on our end at the start of this race, Lorenzo. And I've got to say, Franklin Steen just looking a little bit under threat at the moment in these early stages.
Oh yeah, but he's looking a little bit stiff, as you said. In the start of the race, we got a yellow flag, I think, on turn 1, on sector 1, as I got it over here on the overlay. But as said, this is the very beginning of the race. All drivers are a little bit stiff. They're trying to get the best position so they can carry on down the line in the race. But what is good about it, Franklin, is that he lost the second position, but is still in touch with Hemper Sunderberg. So he's trying to still make moves. It's going to be a little bit complicated given the nature of these cars and also the track that doesn't give it a lot of space to work. But this is a 80-minute race. You never know what's going to happen. So we still have more than 1 hour left in race. So let's just see what it's going to bring us.
Indeed, yeah. So yeah, as you say, it's a long race ahead of us, 80-minute long race, so plenty of time to come back through the field if you have a bit of a bad start, or if you're sort of a bit of a slow start. You've got plenty of time to make back any positions or anything that you lose at the moment. So it's all pretty line astern. Although the battle for 8 at the moment, it's Bram Henkeveld there, one of the, again, as I said, one of the sort of main admins here at Race Department, and he's in this series, or in this edition of the Mini Championship. He's actually battling with Razvan there in the Caterpillar Mini for 8th spot. There was a little bit of a close moment there, and a bit of a flash of the headlights from Ram. I'm not sure if that was maybe a little bit of a signal that, hey, what are you doing? You nearly took me out, or if that was just something like that. But all very close racing at the moment. It looks like the 8th spot. They're fighting very hard indeed, it would seem, for the 8th spot, as Bram has a little bit of a look down into the right-hander. And yep, look at that, because they might even get the move done there. So a bit of a wide entry from Razvan, and that might let Bram through, although he's going to hold it around the outside. Very nice there from Razvan, actually. So great stuff from him, holding that around the outside, cuts back across there so he gets the line into the right-hander here. And this is always very interesting because Sean Jacobs is just behind in 10th. And there's actually a bit of a train there down to about 13th, Tanis Pazzi, the rear of that. And here we go, Bram again, having a look at Razvan into the left-hander, and he's going to have, contact between the two, bit of a door moment. But I think Bram may do it. He's still there. He's on the outside, but now it's the inside for the final corner. It looks like. Yeah, he's done it. There you go. Good stuff from Ram to get the move done. So he now moves into 8th. But again, look at this. Razvan's got the exit. He'll be back at him once again. So this is a seesaw battle here for 8th spot. Look at that. Razvan's got the slipstream. He's going to look down into turn 1. And yeah, so it's going to be very close.
Down in the front, down in the front, Jose Lima and Alexa Antonio. Good battle, and also with Tel Vanderbrink.
Oh, yep, good spot. Yeah, it's a 5th spot, so there's a good battle there as well. But look at this, Razvan's just coming back at Bram again in turn 1. This is for 8th spot, and I think he might get it done, although Bram's going to be on the inside, is he? Oh, he's just got it back, a bit more touching between the two. Very physical battle, this one. They're not bashing each other out of the way, but there is just a little bit of nudging between the two as they try and get the moves done. So very interesting to see as Razvan having another look down the inside at Bram with the right hand. Oh, more contact again. Oh, they're both going wide, and that's going to surely give. Well, it's not, because Sean Jacobs is actually battling with Sergio Mengel as well. So it's a lot of very close battling at the moment at the back end of the 10. They're all trying to sort themselves out. Sean Jacobs has got hold on 10th. Actually, Tanis Pazzi up to 11th. That is interesting. He was 13th or 14th a lap ago, and he's already up to 11th. So great stuff from Tanis Pazzi there. Moving through the field very nicely. That drops Sergio Mengel down to 12th. And that train's almost now all the way back to 16th even. So there's a very fascinating battle developing here in the midfield as we enter towards the, I think it's got to be a good 5 to 10 minutes, or a good 5 minutes in the race. Again, the timing of the game isn't amazingly precise. But what's going on?
Oh, we got a crash at 17. John Souter just went off the track. I think he overbraked and went off the track and crashed hard into the tire barrier.
Ooh, yeah,
so a lot of positions.
Yeah, he's dropped down 22nd now, so he's dropped down the field. I'll try and pick up, I can't, that's right, because I don't have that, but yeah, big moment for him in the number 85 Mini. He drops down to 22nd now. Just pops out ahead of Adrian Breziano, who's just having a look in turn 1. So moment there for John, but at least he's still in the race, which is the main thing. So that's good stuff from John to keep going. But again, these Minis are pretty tough little machines, so I think they can take a bit of a beating, these Minis. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few little knocks between them and they get away with it relatively unscathed, because they are pretty tough little cars, these Mini Cooper racing cup cars in a sense. But that battle for 8th is still going on between Bram and Razvan. I think Bram has got it for the time being, but Razvan yet again is coming back at him, as has been the case in the last few laps. It's been a very seesaw battle as Razvan having a look into the left-hander. I think he might get done too. Is it? Oh, it's contact. Oh, no, contact between the two.
Oh, close.
Again,
good save.
I think, yeah, Razvan's going to get it done there. So this battle is getting quite a physical battle between these two. But again, these Minis, as I said, they can take a bit of a pounding. So it's sort of, I guess, in a way, it's kind of expected that there might be a little bit of elbow grease coming out in this series. So very interesting to see that. Very physical battle back there. And just behind those two, Sean Jacobs and Temis Pazzi having a nice little battle too. Pazzi seemed to come through the field. It looks like his race pace is quite strong. I think he qualified about 13th and 14th, and he's already fighting for 10th spot. Here he goes on the inside of Sean Jacobs into turn one, and I think he may get the move done. Let's have a look. It's looking like he will, and yeah, look at that, he will. Sean Jacobs is going to try and keep him inside, but he just can't do it. So great stuff from Pazzi. His race pace looking very strong indeed, and he now moves into the top 10. He is right on the back of this battle between Rasman and Brand. They're still going at it like they've been going at it for the last 3 or 4 laps. Just behind, I think that's Sergio Mengel's actually having a look at Sean Jacobs as well. And I think he might get the move done. That's for 11th spot. So Sean Jacobs dropping down the field a bit here. He's now down to 12th spot. And now he's got Fred Locklear all over the back of him as well. So interesting to see. We've got some movers here in the race. It's interesting to see that maybe we've got a few guys who didn't necessarily qualify as well as they could have. And they're actually coming through the field. And guys who qualified, in the top 10, we're dropping down the field, so it really shows that difference between qualifying pace and race pace, Lorenzo.
Oh yeah, indeed. Qualify is basically a hot lap tournament. The best lap wins. You get front, and then it goes down the line in a descending order. But race pace is a whole lot different because you have so many different factors down the race line. And it's good to see like these drivers keeping it clean, no major incidents. Bram Hagenveld got a move again on turn 1, trying to pass Razvan. I think he did, but might get a payback. But it's good to see what I'm noticing down this race is how close the drivers are keeping it close. Like we got a battle for 3rd and 2nd, 8th and 9th, and then down below, it's non-stop. Full action.
Indeed, no, yeah, it's all pretty fascinating to start off this race. I mean, again, we're very much in the early stages of this race, and already the battling is quite intense. That battle for 8th is still going on. Bram has managed to get back into 8th, but again, Razvan's right there once more, holding on to the back. Although Bram looks to have just got a little bit of an advantage this time, and I think he might actually hold it into the ladder complex of the lap. And I think, yeah, if he can keep it clean, he may actually be able to possibly break away. Although I say that, and then Razvan gets a really nice run through that final complex, and he might actually challenge again down to turn 1. So this battle between the 8th spot just keeps going on and on. And again, Temis Pazzi is in 10th spot, and he's looking very strong to possibly challenge them as well. And he's actually gapping Sergio Mengel just ever so slightly by about half a second or so in 11th. So Bram again having to defend here from Razvan as they enter turn 1. And Razvan trying to go around the outside in that Caterpillar Mini again, very pretty livery, but he goes wide.
Too hard,
right, goes
and
a little bit too deep.
in.
Yeah, and that's going to give Pazzi a shot here in a Banzai car, but he's got the inside for the right-hander. But look, Pazzi's going to duck to the inside. Bit of contact from the two, but I think he may have a chance here. It's a good little move if he can get it done from Tamas. We'll see if he can do it here. He's going to be on the outside for the left-hander. Kind of a bit of a theme with this track. He's going to dive to the inside again in the left-hander. He's going to make it. Oh, he's just close enough. And it helps that Razvan's just gone a little bit wide in the left-hander. It's going to give Pazzi the chance to maybe go for it. But again, they're side by side down the straight. Bit of contact again as they go down the straight there. And I think Razvan's just going to hold it. But what this has done is it's allowed Bram to just get a little bit of a gap now. He's got just about a second-ish thereabouts in 8th spot now. And that's given him a little breather that he needed to get away from this little battle pack here at the back end of the 10 that is now Razvan at the head of it. So interesting stuff. I was going to say that would have been a very nice move Tamas had done. It was just a little bit of a switchback move. Just sort of was on the outside and just switched to the inside. Nearly made it work, but not quite. And again with this track here, you'll notice that one of the sort of themes of it is a bit of a sort of seesawy track. You know, you get a left-hander which leads into a right-hander, a left-hander leads into a right-hander.
Oh,
and it's a bit similar like that. So when you're on the inside for one corner, if you don't get the move done, then you may end up on the outside for the next corner. So something to keep in mind. But Pazzi dives it down the inside into turn 1, but he's gone too deep, and that's going to give Razvan back 9th spot. And actually Sergio Mengel has a little bit of a look as well for 10th spot. There's a bit of a sniff there as Tamas goes a bit deep, but Tamas holds on in 10th spot at the moment. That is a very close battle at the moment, all the way down even to sort of 14th, 15th, which is actually Frank Van Overen fighting with Fred Locklear there for 13th spot. And I think, I was going to say Frank's got it, but again, he'll be on the outside for the left-hander. And I think Fred's going to hold it. He is. So Fred holds that for the moment in 13th as they go along. But that battle for 9th is probably one of the main ones to watch. The leaders are all line astern at the moment. They're very close, but there's no actual passing at the moment. They're all just pretty much holding station at the moment, with Ernhan still leading in that number 14 Red Bull as we go 10 laps, just about to enter 11 laps complete. 10 laps complete here at the first round of the mini challenge here at Race Department for Season 9. Ernan leading the moment from Hampus Soderberg, Franklin Steening third. Craig Patterson's pretty much in a world of his own right now. He's only about a second, or probably about a second and a half off Franklin, so he's just holding. He doesn't quite have the pace to challenge top three, but he's holding station in fourth either way. He's got a good 4 seconds or so back to Jose Lima in fifth spot. He's still leading ahead of Alex there in the number 76 Fujifilm car in sixth, with Theo Van Brink still in seventh. They're all still line and stern two in that battle from fifth to seventh. And then we're back to this battle for 8th, 9th, 10th, and beyond, with Ram in 8th spot, and then it's still Razvan there in 9th, with Thomas Pazzi in 10th, and that rounds out your top 10. The field getting a little bit more spread apart behind those guys in that battle. So if it goes, so that sort of battle pack goes sort of down to about 15th ish or thereabouts. 16th and everyone below is a bit further back, or a little bit more spaced out further down the field. There's a bit of a battle for 17th, 18th though, which is a little bit fascinating to watch, but that's a two-way, almost going to turn into a three-way fight now, which is interesting to see as we go along now. But no retirements. The only retirement is Will Newell, as I said, who got DQ'd off the start. But aside from that, no other retirements and no other real major incidents, just one spin throughout this race. But aside from that, it's all been pretty clean in the red zone. I mean, a little bit of door knocking, but again, with this kind of racing, I suspect, that's sort of to be expected, isn't it, really? Because these cars are just, you can really chuck them around so much that there's probably always going to be a little bit of contact between drivers as they try and fight for position.
Oh yeah, indeed. Like in the Brazilian challenges, not only the Brazilian but all leagues, a little bit of door-to-door action is expected from these cars. What is really good to see is that, as you said, no major incidents. We got a few battles going up, brewing up, all around the track, from front to back. But one cool thing that I found out about Automobilista is try to avoid damage to the minimum, because damage to the minimum actually enhances you down the line with aerodynamics and some other aspects of racing. Because right now, if you go to door action very hard, you can actually damage your car up to lose speed and performance down the line. So as much as cool as it gets, seeing door-to-door action in this close battles, every driver has to manage to keep their cars with least damage possible. Otherwise, it's going to be very complicated trying to get these race down the line and try to get a good position in it.
Yeah, true, no, exactly. So I've got to keep that in mind. Think of the long run, in a sense, in these cars. So I'm actually looking at the lead now. Hampus Soderberg's actually quite close here to Ernan. I think this might be the closest he's been in recent times. I was thinking he was going to have a look there, but Ernan's just sort of defended that line a little bit, and Hampus is just holding station, but he is right behind Ernan in that battle for lead. And again, Franklin Steening's right there to pounce if anything happens. So the battle for the lead has sort of just kicked off a little bit here. It's gotten very close indeed. They're separated by a very, very small amount. And again, Franklin Steening's right there. Top three all line astern right now. Very good to see. Really close between those guys. And again, Craig Patterson is just thereabouts. He's not quite on the back of them. Again, he's about a second and a half behind Franklin Steening, but he's right there. If these guys get into a really big battle, I think Craig Patterson will be there in the thick of it very, very quickly. So it is very interesting to see. And he's keeping relatively close pace as well to Ernan. I mean, he's dropping back maybe ever so slightly, but he's keeping it relatively close with the top few, and it's a pretty big gap actually back to Jose Lima. It's about 5 seconds from Craig back to Jose Lima. So fifth and below seem to be a little bit slower than the top four, and the top four are very close. And again, this Hampus is right behind Ernan as they go through the final complex of corners here, and I really think he might charge. Again, Franklin Steen's right there too, so possibly just struggling a bit now, Ernan. He had that early advantage in pace, but maybe the tyre wear start kicking a bit, and the fuel load start to drop. The cars will be changing, obviously, as the fuel load and the tyres change. The car will be different to drive. It might be just falling to the strength of Hampus, but Hampus is right there. But look at this, Franklin Steen has a bit of a look at the inside, but he doesn't in the end go for it. But Hampus will go for it as they go into turn one. Has looked down the inside. We'll see if he can maybe get the move done. I think he might, though. Ernan will have the inside again for the right-hander coming up, but I think Hampus has got it done. He has. Great move from Hampus Soderberg there into turn one. He gets the move done. He now leads in that number 7 Mini Cooper. But again, Ernan's right there, and again, Franklin Steen is right there too. So very interesting to see. But move done for Hampus, and he now inherits the lead. We have a change of lead for the first time since the first lap. and it's good to see as we enter, I believe, we're just over an hour to go in the race. Yep, so we've got pretty much an hour to go now in this race. Just got through the first 20 minutes of this one. All gone by pretty quickly too. It's quite amazing how quick it goes past when you've got battles going on everywhere. But Hampus Soderberg leading now from in the Techno Max number 14 Mini. Franklin Steen third, and again with Craig Patterson right there. 2 seconds after the lead, so he's closed over so slightly with those guys having that switch of position. So keep on that for you. I'm seeing some moving around. I think it's the battle for 8th is kicked off again between Bram and Razvan. Razvan's been able to close him down, so I think this might be a running theme, I suspect, for the race, this battle for 8th spot. I think it's just going to keep sparking up again. So Razvan's managed to catch back up. He's now fighting again for 8th spot. They've got a little bit of a gap about second back to Tamas Pazzi, who's actually got Sean Jacobs over the back of him. So Sean Jacobs seems to be just coming back into this race as well. So it's really interesting to see. It's a bit of an ebb and flow, isn't it? It seems to me like drivers are they're coming into pace and then dropping out of it. Because as I said, Sean Jacobs he started in the top 10 and he's dropped back to 11th now. As I said, Tamas Pazzi got past him. I think a couple others got past him in the early stages, but he's actually coming back, it seems, on pace as this race is wearing on. He tried to go around the outside of Pazzi there in turn 1. Didn't really work.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Ooh. What's up?
Oh, Fred Locklear just went off track. I think he overbraked on turn 1. It was right in that middle of the train from 8 to 11 to 13. He went off the track, overbraked in turn 1, lost, and now he's back in 15. He's going to have to do a recovery race right now.
Yep. So he'll be trying to come back through the field. Apologies, just changing some keys here. There we go. Now I can actually look at replays again. Woo. So yeah, he did a little bit of an error. He's dropped down to 15th though, so I think he only dropped 1 or 2 positions, so not too bad for him. So he only really loses effective sort of 5 or 6 seconds in this race, so not too bad. And as I said, 80-minute long race, plenty of time for him to come back and make back that time that he lost. But either way, Bram's still holding on in 8th spot. He seems to have just managed to get a little bit of a breather from Razvan, at least temporarily. But that battle for 10th seems to be pretty intense. Actually, the battle for the lead's intense because Ernan's having a look again down to turn 1. So the battle for the lead reignites, as they enter turn 1. But I think Hampus has actually managed to hold on. Very nice from him as well. Franklin Steen goes a little bit deep in turn 1. That's going to cost him time. So, yeah, very interesting to see. Going back again, though, this battle for 10th, Tamas Pazzi having to defend from Sean Jacobs into turn 1. And again, Jacobs is going to try to go around the outside here. He'll be on the dirty stuff, though, on the exit, and that's going to cost him. And again, he just can't do it. And again, look at Sergio Mengel in all of this is catching these two. And actually, he's going to get past Sean Jacobs. Wow, is he? Although Jacobs is going to have the inside. I think he'll hold just a little bit of a touch on the exit. And Jacobs holds just, but it's very close. And what that has done is it's allowed Pazzi to get a bit of a breather for a bit. He's got about a second now back to Sean Jacobs. So that's good stuff for him. But yeah, it's interesting to see. And again, that's that dynamic line I was talking about, Lorenzo, because of that dynamic track grip levels that is now a thing in AMS. As I said, akin to sort of R-Factor 2 and the like. It means that, as actually Craig Patterson, I was quickly over that battle, Craig Patterson's actually having a look at Franklin Steen here into the final corner, sort of 3rd spot. So Franklin he's had a bit of a tardy few laps. He's actually dropped back behind the leading 2. And he's actually dropped to the clutches of Craig Patterson now. And this is the battle for 3rd spot for the podium. The final step on the podium. And Craig Patterson is right there. He's got the slipstream as they go down the main straight. I don't know if he'll be close enough to have a look into turn 1. He's not really. He has a bit of a look, but I don't think he'll do it. And no, he doesn't. He's not quite close enough. But yeah, interesting to see how that change. But as I was saying, Lorenzo, with the dynamic racing line, what it does mean is that on the outside line, obviously outside the racing line, you get all the marbles, and you can actually visually see them on the track, and you'll probably be able to see them on the stream. Well, those little black dots off the racing line are the marbles, of course, the build-up of rubber that occurs as a race goes on. As the rubber falls off the tyre, it all builds up off the racing line. So if you go too deep and you go wide, you're going to go on the marbles. That's going to really cost your grip and really hurt your tyres. So it's another extra sort of layer of realism they have to think about now in AMS.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Like, marbles, more now than ever, play a different factor. We actually had marbles back in Stock Car Extreme, but they were more like statics visuals, like just see and play nice. Over here actually is a whole different dynamic. They actually play a part. If you go over the marbles, you lose grip, you might oversteer your car. Even a front wheel drive car, it will play in effect, will not help you down the line, will make your tire wear a little bit bigger. And frankly, Staggins in the pits.
Yeah, so Franklin already in. That's interesting. So we're only about sort of 25 minutes into this race, and Franklin is in. So that is really interesting to see. He's the first to blink of the entire field. I don't see anybody else coming in. I'm just keeping an eye as the field comes through. And yeah, it looks like we're down to 15th now. No one else has come in. So that's really interesting to see. So Franklin in the lane, and looks to me like he's doing an entire full tire change. So all four tires are going to be changed. He'll refuel up, I suspect, as well. And yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, so there you go. So he's already in the lane. And that means to me, so 25 minutes, and he's pitted. He may even need to do a 3-stop race here, possibly. Maybe two. Might be able to sneak 2 stops. But yeah, that is really interesting. I was expecting, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 stops. But yeah, there you go. So he's in really early in this race. We'll see where he pops out, actually. Where is he going to pop out? I'm trying to find him again in amongst the field. He's dropped down way now. He's down to 25th now as he's finally exiting the lane. Again, it's a pretty long stop in these cars, and especially when you do a full tyre change, so it's not exactly a short stop. But he's just exiting the lane now. I think he will pop out. Yeah, he'll pop out dead last now in the field. So he's at the back of the field now, having stopped. But again, that's with the stop. So keep that in mind as we go along. So we'll see where he filters out. But yeah, the top 2 staying out. So that is interesting. That's really interesting. No response from the top 3 yet. I'll keep an eye out and see if 4th or 5th enter. Nope, no one else is entering. So that's interesting, Lorenzo. I was expecting a few others to react, but it looks like I say that, and then Bram pits. So Bram's in as well. But that's interesting, isn't it? It seems to me like we've got some differing strategies here. Will we maybe see some 1-stops and some 2-stops and some sort of strategy variation as this race goes on? It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Oh yeah, indeed. Like, most of the drivers right now, since as I said before the race started, the tire wear and fuel is ×2, so it goes much quicker than you usually want to go. So you have to anticipate your pit stop one way or another. So I believe drivers down at the front pack and also in the middle of the field is going to pit right about 15 minutes to 45 minutes. What I've been noticing down the line, I've been watching Craig Patterson race. He hasn't been involved in a lot of incidents. He has been driving his race normally, keeping his line clean, following the dynamic line, and I think that's a good thing because that conserves your tires more and more. So I believe. Oh yeah, the lead's in the pits.
Yeah, so I was just about to say, Hampus is now in, so we've got that lead in the lane now, so I guess this must be the time to pit. And I was just going to say, I was just checking then the car setup, because we can, obviously, being me and Lorenzo in the server, we can actually look at the car setup while we're sitting in the garage. So I was having a look, and they only carry 50 litres of fuel, these cars, so that actually does correlate. They'd probably be pitting around about now, so they only carry 50 litres, so they're pretty small fuel tanks in these Mini Coopers, and so it makes sense everyone's pitting. Razvan's also in. Sean Jacobs is also in, so it seems like the pit stops are starting. So Franklin was the first to blink. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets any advantage, if the undercut actually is a helpful thing in these Mini Coopers. Obviously, in F1, it's a pretty big thing in Formula 1, but that's Formula 1. We're in Mini Coopers, so it's going to be interesting to see if it's as big of a factor here at a very different sort of car. There's a whole bunch of people pitting, actually, a few more in the back end of the field are starting to come in as well. So a lot of people now are blinking. Just as I said, I think we're just over 25 minutes in this race. Yep, we're nearing half an hour into this race, and we've already had a few people coming in to the lane. So I'm sure Ernan, I would be expecting to pit as well soon. I think he'd be joining everybody else in the very near future as we go along. I'm just watching now. So Franklin Sting is just coming down the straight now. I'm trying to find where the leader is, but Franklin Sting comes along, and I think he's actually been beaten out pretty sizably by Hampus. He has. Yeah, Hampus has beaten him out really nicely. Wow, that's a big gap. Wow. Yeah, that is a really big advantage. So Hampus has actually managed to gain almost 20 seconds on Franklin Sting in the pit stop. That's really interesting to see. So there you go. So Hampus now, he's come out in 13th. And yeah, he should, I assume, take the effective race lead as Ernan has actually stayed out. That's interesting. So yeah, this is interesting, isn't it? It's going to show some different strategies here, possibly the driving style, stuff like that. People might actually be better on fuel than some other drivers just because of their driving style and like. And I was just going to mention, I noticed there's been a bit of discussion in the chat about the car setup and the lights. So they're right though about setup. You can't actually change much on these cars. They're very much a driver-based car. The only thing you can change is the steering lock. You can change the brake pressure. You can change the rear wing level, and you can change the tyre pressures. That's it. That's all you can change on these cars. So they're very much focused on the driver, not the actual car setup. So which is good to see. I really like series that have cars that you can't change too much because it means you can just jump in and drive, so it's hard to get used to the cars, and B, it really promotes the drivers, not the setup. So yeah, so there really isn't much you can change on these cars. It's all very much driver focused as we go along. And finally, Ernan pits as well now. He pits from the lead. Craig Patterson stays out, so he now inherits the temporary race lead as we go along. Now, Jose Lima also staying out, as is Theo Van Brink. And I think Pazzi's also stayed out for the moment. We'll see if he pits, though, as we go along. But yeah, as I say, Hampus is now 12th. Should have the effective race lead. But that is interesting to see, Lorenzo, just how much he gained. He literally has gained about 20 seconds or so on Franklin Stinging purely through pit stops, which is a big margin to gain.
Oh yeah, like tires play much of a fact over here in Automobilista. Oh, Artisuk Razvan actually just left the race. We don't know why. Unfortunately, he was actually in the pits.
I'm trying.
But we're gonna check out later what could have happened. But as you said, tires play a lot of effect over here, especially in Automobilista. Changing 2 tires actually takes a chunk of your time. 4 tires even more. And with the setup, what some drivers have, as said, you cannot change much. Some goes for a more of aggressive line, so that aggressive line could play down a factor down the line because you're gonna get a bigger tire wear and possibly a bigger tire fuel wear too.
Yeah, indeed. No, it's very true. Yeah, as I said, the lines you take and how you take the corners and all that kind of thing is going to affect tire wear, because if you take the corner a certain way, you might actually work the tires a bit harder, or if you take it a different way, and so on and so forth. So it's all very much, a lot of the driving style is going to be the factor here with the fuel economy and with tire wear. So as I said, especially because you can't change much in the setup of the cars, there's going to be a lot of it's going to be how drivers are driving the cars and the lines they're taking. So again, Hampus yet again, he's got a very nice gap again. He's beaten out Ernan easily once more. He's got a good 10-second gap or so back to him. And actually, Ernan's come out in a bit of traffic here. He's behind. Oh, I think it's going to be effective third. I'm fairly sure he will be. Again, it's all a bit interesting at the moment. Everyone's a bit out of sync. You got some who are staying out, some who have pitted, some have done tires, some who haven't. So it's a bit interesting right now. It's hard to really. So he's going to be losing even more time as he goes along now. And again, Franklin Stinging is in 18th effective now. I think he may have actually lost a position to Alex D. Dominicantonio, there. He's in 17th in that Fiji film mini. And I think he's actually passed Franklin in the pit lane. So he's now, I think it's going to be effective third. I'm fairly sure he will be. Again, it's all a bit interesting at the moment. Everyone's a bit out of sync. You got some who are staying out, some who have pitted. Some have done tires, some who haven't. So it's a bit interesting right now. It's hard to really pick how the order is. I think this might be the phase of the race where everyone sort of picks their strategy. So, but it's interesting to see. We've got people on very different strategies right now, and that is very fascinating to observe. So, also just note again, I'm noticing someone asked there in chat, wondering what happened to Franklin. I suspect what has happened there is, I reckon, because I know he took 4 tires. So I reckon what's happened is he's taken full tires, whereas I reckon Hampus has just taken fuel. That's my guess. I reckon that's why he had such a quick stop. So I reckon he's just taken fuel and kept 4 tires on, not changed them. And I reckon Ernan might have done something similar, though. I reckon he may have done something similar. Or maybe he just changed 2 tires, possibly, rather than all 4. So I think that may be why we have this kind of split up order with the pit stop guys, because I reckon some have taken full tires, like Franklin. Some have maybe taken 2 tires, maybe like Ernan, and some have not taken tires at all, like Hampus. So I think that's why we've got a bit of a mixed up order here as we head towards, I believe we have roughly 45-ish minutes to go in this race. So we're getting towards the halfway mark now of this race, another 5 minutes and we're at the halfway mark. And yeah, it's all very interesting. Again, only the 2 retirements, the DQ with Milnew from the start of the race, and then Razvan, DNF there in the pit lane. And I did go back and actually have a look at that. And I couldn't really tell what happened. He just seemed to be doing his pit stop, and then he just kind of went to garage. So I'm not sure if it was a disconnection maybe, or if maybe there was some kind of glitch with the garage. I know in some of the other simulators available, like I think in R-Factor, I don't know if it was R-Factor 2 or R-Factor 1, you could get a glitch in the lane where you could get stuck in your pit box and you can't actually exit, which is always a bit awkward when that happens. I'm not sure if AMS has that glitch, but That maybe is what happened. Battery, as I said, he may have disconnected. Not entirely sure. But yeah, it's all very interesting right now as we head towards the halfway mark. And yeah, what are your thoughts so far, Lorenzo, on this race? I think it's been a pretty fascinating one so far from my view. But what are your thoughts on?
Oh, I'm loving it thus far. Really close racing, very clean, more clean than on the leagues we've watched on. Not a lot of DQs or retirements. And one quick thing, I must pay attention on the second and third battle, because the Theo Vandenbrink actually caught up to Jose Lima on the last laps. They're at it like for the past 2 or 3 laps. Very close racing, very clean, but we never know. Like it could come down that line.
Indeed, no, very true. We'll keep an eye on that battle for you. I'm just kind
And
of
Craig is on
multitasking
the
here.
pits. Craig Patterson is bidding right now.
There we go. So Craig, and apologies there, was just getting myself a refreshment. I think my throat's getting a little bit dry, so I need a little bit of refreshment here to get me through the rest of the race. But yeah, so Craig Patterson is in the lane. And as you say, that battle is now for the lead. It's for the temporary lead between Jose Lima and Theo Vanbrink. Vanbrink having a look down to turn 1 as they enter lap 26 of this race, and he gets it done. Wow, that's a very clean move indeed from Theo. Very nice move. So he now gets the move done on Jose Lima, but again, I think that battle is not anywhere near done. They've been battling for pretty much the entire race so far, so I think that's still got a ways to go before that one's sorted out. But for the moment, it's +1 to Theo Vanbrink, and towards the halfway mark. Not far now from the halfway mark, as we say. Patterson in the lane, and excuse me, looks like to me, I think he just took fuel. It didn't look to me like he did tyres. So another
No, he
driver
did.
who's
He did.
just
I
doing
think he
fuel.
did 2 tires. If I'm not mistaken, he did 2 tires.
Ah, yeah, okay. Yep, so he did the 2 tyres. Again, I think he did it similar to Ernan, and it makes sense because I think he's actually going to come out around about where Ernan is. Oh, no, Ernan's up there. There he is, but he's not far behind Ernan. But again, he's dropped back like Franklin as well. So that indicates to me that Ernan and Hampus mustn't have taken tyres because they have got a pretty substantial gap over the rest of the field. Franklin just getting past Alex there in the Fujifilm Mini Cooper, by the way. So that's 4th position for what I think will be effective 3rd if the order pans out like I suspect it may. So Steen now gets back onto the podium once more, and Alex there is now, what should be effective 4th, I'm fairly sure. And I'm pretty sure Craig will be effective 5th as he now just passes one of the back marker cars kind of thing, the number 53 entry there, and that's for 15th at the moment, but again, that should be 5th when it all pans out. I'm fairly sure it's all a bit, as I said, it's all a bit up in the air at the moment as everyone's on different strategies and all that sort of thing. But this could be really interesting to see because, as I say, we're pretty much at halfway mark. Okay, cool. I just saw in the chat there. Thanks for that. SXN Dave, thanks for that. Apparently that pit stop glitch I was talking about, that has happened in other games. I know that in the R Factor series, that's a glitch that, at least in R Factor 1, used to be a thing back in the day. But I didn't know if it was in AMS. Apparently, Dave, they're just confirming that he's never seen it in AMS, and I haven't actually either, to be fair. So I was just kind of speculating on what could have been the time there for Rasman. But, second and a half now is the lead for Theo, and that battle is just kind of neutralized now. And again, Hampus is holding on in to what should, again, well, you'd think it'd be the temporary lead, but as I was just about to say there, is that we're pretty much at halfway now.
Yeah, but Theo is going to the pits right now.
Okay, cool, yep. So Theo in the lane now from the lead, so he now relinquishes that race lead and gives it to Jose Lima now, who will be the temporary race leader for the time being. Right, yeah, thanks, Dave, yep. Okay, now I realised here you are. Thanks, Dave, thanks for that. Okay, yep, okay, that's cool, yep. All right, cheers to that, Dave, either way, though. Good to get the confirmation on that. I didn't think it was a thing, to be honest, because I haven't actually seen it on the AMS either. I was just kind of speculating a bit on that one. But, yeah, it's interesting to see this is all panning out, because I was just about to say, we're pretty much, we've got to be, mere seconds away now from halfway through this race, and there's drivers like Jose Lima, like Thomas Pazzi, Frank Van Overen, Sergio Mengel. They haven't stopped yet. We're at halfway now. So I wonder, Lorenzo, are they going for a one-stop? Because if they do, they're going to take the effective positions where they are now. Because surely the likes of Hampus and co have to pit again. So is that possible? Do you think that we could see some one-stoppers and some two-stops drivers here as the race wears on? Or is maybe Hampus and Co just pitted a bit earlier, so they can get a bit of advantage and they'll be able to go to the end. I mean, what do you think is going to happen here strategy wise?
It's a good question. Like, let me, I'm trying to think about race wise. First of all, I think Jose Lima is going to the pits right now. Right, he's pitting. But
Yep.
regarding race pace and pit stops, also, never mind. But just the Esteban actually crashed going to the pits, but never mind. Regarding race, you can have one pit stop, yes, but it's very risky because you would have to go with the 4 tires. 4 tires in this track is very much needed because you cannot count the back tires all alone, because your back tires is going to be right about 70, right down when you pit. We're halfway the race. We believe tires on the rear is going to be right about 70 or 60. You can do it, of course. I've seen them do it. I've seen somebody do it once, but it's highly risky because you're going to have to concentrate your tires more so than ever and keep it clean all around the race. You cannot have one single damage. So
indeed, yes.
if it was me,
sorry.
I would go for 2 instead of 1.
Okay. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, as you say, very interesting to see how this will all pan out. I was just watching now, Craig Patterson now has gotten past Alex. That's for what is now 5th spot, so that move's done. So the Fujifilm entry there of Alex is just dropping down. And that's going to be expected because, as I said, his pace was not quite up to a match to the top 4. So I'm not too surprised he's dropped back. As I said, he gained track position thanks to the pit stops in not taking tyres or the same amount of tyres as the leaders. So he gained track position, but now the actual true pace of the top 4 is coming back through, and so now he drops back down to 5th spot. So we're pretty much back to how it was now, as Frank Van Overen is just pitted now, and we're back to basically status quo on the order. So it's going to be back to how it was essentially before the stops. Though we've got some different orders here because of the differing strategies and the differing fuel loads and tire stuff and all that kind of thing. It's all very fascinating. Got to be honest. I'm happy to see it being so different to what I was thinking. It just throws a bit more of a spanner in the works, seeing everyone switching around with tires and with fuel. It makes it much more interesting to watch. I've got to say, I always like having a bit of a strategy element, I think, in these races. But what this has done now, so essentially what this has done, Sean Jacobs will pop up to 7th now, so he's gained quite a lot in the pit stops, and again, assumably because he didn't take tyres, or he only took 2 tyres in that stop, I assume is why he's gained so much time. So he's now back up into 7th spot. Though it should be 6, because Adrian Briziano is one of the few who hasn't stopped. He still hasn't stopped. He's in 6th spot. He's still going in that STE car. So we'll see how that goes. He may be one to watch out for to maybe gain a lot in this pit stop. So watch that out for him for you. But he's in 6th place at the moment. But he was effectively, I think, in that battle for sort of 19th, 20th before the stop. So he's down towards the back end of the field effectively. But because he hasn't stopped, he's up in 6th spot. So watch him for you, because I reckon he could be one to watch as a bit of a wild card on the strategy to maybe pull something out. But he's in 6th spot at the moment, although Sean Jacobs is flying up to him very fast indeed. Jose Lima now is 8th spot, with Bram in 9th. He's now battling with Theo Van Brink. He's in 10th now, so that battle he's switched now with somebody else. But again, he's in a battle once more, so Bram seeming to be in battles pretty much all race long. Fred Locklear is now 11th, Sergio Mengel 12th. So that battle in the sort of back end of the 10 it's the same sort of people as before, but they've also switched around, so it's a little bit different. So what's up?
3rd and 4th place. Craig Patterson got a line on Franklin 2nd and 3rd one. He's about to make the move.
Ooh.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah.
Might not leave the room for Franklin to go on the inside on the follow-up curve.
Yeah, no, just straight through. Good move, good spot there, Lorenzo, and good move from Craig. So Craig now up into 30. He's on the podium. As I said, I mean, Craig, pretty quick driver. He's got good pace in that car, and he seems to be just coming to the fore a little bit as this race wears on. As I said, Franklin Steen not really as lightning fast as I was expecting him to be. Usually he's when he gets it lined up and when he gets everything working well, he usually is one pretty hard to beat in these races. But excuse me. But yeah, he seemed to be just struggling a little bit here as we enter just past the halfway mark. He now drops to 4th spot, and he's holding on, but Craig's got a little bit of a gap. He's got a couple of car lengths already as they enter the final complex, although Franklin is still there, so we'll see if he slipstreams back through. But it looks to me like Craig's got it pretty convincingly. So he now is onto the podium drops Franklin back to 4th. Again, Alex is there in that Fujifilm number 76 Cooper. He's still there, although he's dropping back from those two. Again, as I said, the true pace is sort of showing through, but he is still in 5th spot. Craig Person coming down the main straight, but again, look at that. He's got a good gap. He's got a good half second already to Franklin Steen. He opened that up in pretty much, what, 1 lap. That's it. So he opened up half a second in 1 lap. That's really interesting to see. So that's that fast. And Franklin's gone wide. Oh, into turn 1. Oh, he's giving the wall a bit of a nudge, and that's going to drop him down behind Alex there in 4th spot in the Fujifilm Cooper. And by the looks of that, I think he just went too deep. It wasn't any kind of mistake there. He just went a little bit too deep in the corner, and off he went. So interesting to see. Franklin really is looking a bit out of sorts. He doesn't look really...
We have to take account that Franklin, whenever he joined out of the track during the pits, he got a little bit of traffic. He had to make some work. Unfortunately, he had to waste his tires more so than ever.
It's all just very fascinating indeed.
Yeah, we have to take account that Franklin, whenever he joined out of the track during the pits, he got a little bit of traffic. He had to make some work. Unfortunately, he had to waste his tires more so than ever. I kind of think the pan backfired on him down the line, but we still got a lot of racing left. Franklin is a very, very good driver. We can believe. I believe that he's gonna come up with some good results. Like top 5 is a good result, but I think he can come up with the top 3 if he keeps going like that.
Indeed, yeah, it's very true. Yeah, it's fascinating to see, as you say, maybe his earlier races, sort of earlier style of racing, just kind of biting him a bit now with the tires. And as I just mentioned, I just noticed that in the chat there with Dave again, just having people discussing the pit stops again. And I was just looking through there, and I noticed a bit of a chat about it, and people saying about what people will do. And that will be interesting to see what they do with that, with the 2 stoppers, whether they take tires in the first stop and then try to go to the end, or whether they try and go with the same tires through to the second stop and then they change tires. It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes with the strategy, or whether they just don't at all, or whatever happens there. So it could all be very interesting, and it's just so much of a standard driving style. If you can be a very clean driver and just be very, very easy on the tires, quick, but still being a little bit easier on the tires than others, you could really gain so much, I feel, in this race, just by being really smooth, which again is pretty similar to real life, and it's a very handy little thing to have if you're a very consistent and smooth driver. I know a few drivers who are very quick, but they're super, super smooth, and in these kind of races they just gain so much. They're just so smooth. The tires, they're able to eke out more of the tires. They're able to probably be a little better on fuel as well, and that kind of thing. It really is fascinating to watch, and max respect to those kind of drivers too, because I don't think I could do it, honestly. So yeah, very, very big respect to them. But Hampus at the moment is leading. Hampus Soderberg just going back to the lead as we've been focusing a bit further back. He leads by 11 seconds back to Ernan now in the number 14 Red Bull Mini, and then he's got a good 15 seconds thereabouts back to Craig Patterson in 3rd, who has got a little bit of a gap, about 3 seconds back to Alex in the Fujifilm number 76 Cooper. Franklin Staging is still in 5th spot, number 72. The Bose Mini Cooper, he's just behind Alex now. He hasn't actually been able to catch him as quick as I thought he would. I thought he'd sort of catch him relatively quickly, but he's pretty much been holding station, though. He's got a good chunk of him there through the hairpin. He may actually be able to challenge again for that 4th spot very soon, but that's that battle for 4th spot. Then Sean Jacobs now in 6th spot, again gained a lot through the first phase of pit stops. So interesting to see how it all goes at the second phase, though, whether he loses that time again, having done tyres and the like, as someone just moved there. Who was that? Someone had a little bit of a moment or something. I'm not sure who that was. Yeah, I'm not sure. Either way, that battle for 4th has reunited a bit again. Alex under big pressure now from Franklin now as they go through the final corner onto the straight. I reckon Franklin's got to surely have it. He's pretty much almost pushing Alex out of the final corner, and I reckon he's surely going to have him pretty easily down the straight. He's looking at the inside now. And I would say if Alex knows his strategy is right, he probably won't fight it too hard, I wouldn't think, because he's probably going to know that Franklin's got a good little pace advantage on himself. If I were him, I'd probably just let him go, do my own race, and yeah, he doesn't really fight it too hard, and Franklin gets the move done and moves back up into 4th spot. So back to sort of a bit more how it was. So Alex back to 5th again, but he has a good gap back to Sean Jacobs, and he should have the pace advantage on him too at this phase, so it's good to see.
And
there, but Jake, oh, what's up?
Thomas, really quickly, Adrian Briziano actually just pitted right now.
That is a late stop. That is really interesting. So he's pitted, How long that? He's done roughly, quickly do maths, he's done roughly 50-ish minutes of the race without a single stop. That is interesting. And again, as I'm pretty sure he's clearly, I think he's by quite a margin the last stop out of everyone. So that's really, really fascinating to see. So if you mentioned in the chat there, if you bit of a mention that about strategy at the moment, and I do agree that, as I said, Craig, Lima, Theo Van Brink, those kind of drivers could very well do one stop potentially with where they stopped. They sort of stopped at around the halfway mark just after. So if they can play the cards right, especially with tyres, if they can play their tyres right, drive almost in a way drive to the tyres, if that makes sense. So drive in the manner that will keep the tyres alive till the end of the race. If they can keep those tyres going and work with those tyres, then they may well be able to do one stop. If they can do that, they could be in really good contention when this field sort of irons out. So, and Patterson is the best place then. He's in third at the moment. He's 27, well, almost 27 seconds off the lead. But if he can do one less stop, he should gain the effective race lead after the second phase of stops. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes. And Jose Lima is sixth at the moment. Just got past on Sean Jacobs actually for sixth spot. So good move there from Jose. But and Van Brink is eighth. So those two as well could be big benefactors here if they are able to just do the one stop in this race. Bram is back in ninth, by the way. He's actually managed to gap Sergio Mengel in that battle. He's actually, I think, catching the guys ahead at a pretty decent rate. So keep an eye on it for you. But it could be very interesting. Yeah, and again, and as I said, Adrian Braziani was coming out 24th, as I said. So that's about where he was prior to the first round of stops and everything like that. So he's back to where he was, and he's a long way down the field. But if he can also do one stop, which surely at this point he can, I mean, if he's managed to go that long on the tyres, surely he won't be stopping again. He could gain quite a lot of positions, maybe even get himself into the top sort of 15 maybe when this all pans out. But watch this as all develops. It's all very fascinating period, this race at the moment, Lorenzo, as everyone's just kind of trying to sort themselves out. And I think it's going to be interesting to watch, isn't it, the next kind of 10 minutes to see when people pit and where they end up coming out of the field with their strategies.
Oh, yeah. Like this, as you said, the next 10 minutes is going to be highly cautious. It's going to be very tense because you never know what the driver is going to do, if they're going for front tires and fuel and not. I want to see how all the strategies are going to pan out because the last 10 minutes are going to be key. Two quick things. First one, once again, I want to reinforce for those who are watching us at home, cell phones, tablets, if you're liking what you're seeing, if you want to see further races down the line over here at Race Department on Twitch, follow us, like us on Twitch to keep yourself up to date with our races. If you want to race with us in our race clubs and leagues, go over RaceDepartment.com and subscribe over there. Grab the premium and drive or freemium and drive in our clubs. And the second thing, I don't know if you have noticed, Thomas, but take a look at the rear of Craig Patterson's car. One cool thing I saw is the homage that he's doing to his brother that actually died back in 2005. But that little homage is really good to see, and you often don't see on sim racing.
Yeah, indeed. No, yeah, very, very good point. A good little homage there from Craig to his late brother who died, obviously. Back in 05.
Oh,
So
wait a minute.
Oh.
I just saw in the chat, and it's actually well caught. I saw Florian putting up. Aaron is in the lead. Emperor Soderbergh stopped. He was in the pits.
I was just about to point that out after you done there. So yeah, Hampus has stopped again. That's his second stop. That should be second and final stop. He's popped out an 8th spot. And again, with that stop length, I would say, it's about 36-ish seconds. I'd say he probably took 2 tires maybe at best on that one. So that's interesting. So he's now in 8th, and that would be his effective position, depending again on what everyone else does. So yeah, look how much quicker it is at Bram now at the moment. He's on the back of Bram for this battle for 7th spot now, and you would think, that he'd get that move done pretty quickly because again, Bram is yet to stop, so he should get it done quickly. But this is for position, so Bram does have every right to fight this. So he doesn't have to just let him go, and it does look like he is going to fight it. So fair enough. I mean, again, this is for position, so he doesn't have to let him go. And it looks like he's going to fight him. But Hams is just going to go, I don't really mind. I'll just go around the outside if you don't mind, Bram, at all. And I think he's going to try. Oh, he's still holding around the outside they enter the main straight. Is he going to do it? He might, as Brown peels off anyway, so that just sorts that battle. And Hampus now gets through. I think someone else stopped as well. Brown was in. Franklin Steen is also in. So he's in now as well for his second and what should be his final stop of the race. So that's interesting to see. What that now does is Ernhan now leads from Craig Patterson. And then Alex there is in third in the Fujifilm Mini Cooper. So just back to what we were saying about Craig, yep. So just a little tribute there to his late brother. It's good to see that's in sim racing, as you say. It's not something you probably see too often, but good to see a little tribute there to a fallen relative in a sense. So a fallen brother. So yeah, good to see that little tribute there from Craig, and he's definitely doing him proud at the moment in second spot. And as I say, could well if this strategy pans out and if he does play his cards right, he could be in with a real fight for the win in this first race, which would be a really, really good way for him to start his season here in this edition of the mini challenge at Race Department. So Eddie, of course, he's going out, continuing around, as we say. He could be on one stop. Keep that in mind. So again, Craig Patterson one to watch because he could well be on a one stop. If he can do a one stop race, he's in with a real good shout of possibly winning it because he has a good, I would say, a good 20, just under, he's got about 18 seconds back to Hampus. So Hampus is going to be very fast in this phase, last in the race, but he does have to claw back 18 seconds, which is a pretty big margin. So we will see. It'll all, as I said, pan itself out the next kind of 10, 15 minutes. We'll start to really see the true final form, so to speak, of this race. As everyone will be doing their strategies and figuring themselves out. So Franklin Steen came back out in 12th spot in the race. And again, that would be effectively where he is, depending on where everyone pits and so on and so forth. And again, the other two to watch. So Craig Patterson, Jose Lima, and Theo Van Brink, 3 to watch to possibly gain if they don't pit. Again, which is going to be very interesting. And again, I was looking at the chat, and a bit of discussion about the percentage of tyre. And by the looks of it, if they do manage to get it to the end, they're going to be on pretty much at least one of the tyres is going to be pretty much non-existent by the end of the race. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all goes, because if they can make it work, it could be a big advantage. But if they can't, then it's a bit awkward, isn't it? Because once you commit to that one stop, especially when you get to the last kind of 10, 15 minutes, then you've kind of committed. And, if you start to get bad tyre wear, you're probably just going to have to deal with it. So you just lose too much time changing tyres. So it's going to be very interesting, isn't it, Lorenzo, to see if they can make this work and really gain that huge advantage that they may potentially gain from doing this one stop.
Yeah, but it's dangerous, very dangerous, because as long as you get the front position, 2 things will come to factor. Number 1, fuel. Since the fuel is 2 times, you're gonna have to coast your car much more, go into more upper gear to save fuel. You're gonna lose performance. You're not an Ayrton Senna that goes into 6th gear from start to finish and then get the first place victory. Unless you are a real virtual Ayrton Senna, which would be amazing to watch, but it's very hard. Second is tires. Tires, they're gonna be right about 0, so you're gonna have to keep as clean as possible and as conservative as possible down the line. Otherwise, there's a big factor you're not making out at the end of the race.
Indeed, yeah. So I'm just looking through. Apologies, I was a little bit distracted there because I don't know what happened there, but Paul Lemesura in the Lentec racing cars dropped down to 18th, 19th. He's down there. He'll probably drop to 20th, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In that car. I don't know what happened there, but he went off at the last corner and then he rebounded off out of the last corner. He hit the wall on the inside, rebounded off that, went to the outside wall, and then just sat there for a good 20 or so seconds. Yeah, and I don't know what happened there. I tried to watch the replay, but I had a little bit of lag, so I can actually see what happened. He's cruising around at the moment at 80 kilometers an hour. He doesn't seem to be really pushing terribly hard. So I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if he's got a damage to the car, if maybe he's got a bit of a technical issue, maybe he's got a problem with his wheel or something like that, but that's really odd. That's a very strange moment. He looks like he's getting back up to speed now, but that's very strange. I just noticed that then, and I was kind of sitting there going, that's a bit weird, but yeah, there you go. So some interesting moments for a few of the drivers here as we now enter the last, about 20 minutes to go now in this race. As we enter the final phase of this race. Ernan's still leading, but I think he might be stopping, and he does. There you go. So Ernan peels off now. He'll be pitting for the final time in that Red Bull liveried Mini Cooper, and that should relinquish the lead to Craig Patterson. And excuse me, and it's all kind of on him now on what happens here and whether he can push those tires and fuel to the end of the
He's
race.
going for
And
tires.
yep, okay, there you go. So yeah, Ernan going for tires here in this stop, and that's interesting to see. So possibly he didn't do that in the first stop, so maybe now he's doing the tires to try and
Yeah,
get
he's
to the
going for
end
the
to have
rear
that.
ones.
Okay, yep. So there you go. So just doing the rear as well, looks which makes sense. Oh no, I don't think so. I think he's doing all four, maybe, possibly, or maybe he's only doing the rears. We'll see. We'll see. Well, it depends on how long he is in the lane. So Hampus is just going past now. Prior to the stop, I think he was about 10-ish seconds behind Hampus, and it looks like he's going to be similarly gapped to Hampus. So yeah, I reckon you're right. He may have just done rears again, probably the same as what Hampus did as well. So very interesting to see. So Craig now leads. He's got 11 seconds back to Jose Lima and Theo Van Brink. They're both separated by a couple of seconds now in second and third. That is effective for the moment, depending on what they do. But Hampus is absolutely flying right now in that car, and he's actually only about 6 seconds behind Theo Van Brink, and he'll be closing at a rate of knots because he doesn't have to save fuel like the top three do at the moment if they want to get to the end. So this is very interesting. So the gap to from Craig to Hampus is 19 seconds now. So that is a pretty big gap, and although Hampus might be going very fast, he has a lot of gap that he has to close in to have a chance
And
at getting the
Craig's
win.
going to the pits.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. So Craig is in. There you go. So that puts the pace to that. So he doesn't go for the one stop. So he's going to pit again. We're interested to see what he does here, whether he just takes a splash and dash and then goes back out, or whether he's going to take tires. We'll see that for you. Lima and Theo Van Rijk stay out, which is key at the moment at this phase of the race. I'm just going to watch and see what Craig does. Know he's going tires as well. Yeah, there you go. So Craig obviously deciding in the end that the one stop wasn't worth it. The two stops the way to go. So we're going to see where he pops out, but I think he might probably pop out behind, I'd say behind Franklin Sting, or at least with Franklin, probably around about there. Actually, he's exiting now. There you go. So he might actually come out almost with Ernan. I think Ernan will just pip him down the straight. Let's have a look as Ernan goes past now. Yep, he tips him in the end, but I think he's pretty much going to come out probably slightly ahead of where he was. Not much though. He's just going to pop out in front of Franklin Van Overen, who was just ahead of Franklin Stinging. So that should be again effective position for the moment, but it depends what happens because again, Thomas Pazzi, Sergio Menguel, Van Brink, and Lima of the top 10 are yet to stop, and Franklin Van Overen. So there's a whole bunch of guys who are still going around who get to stop. So we'll see how this all goes, but there's still a bit of strategy to play out here in this race, and Jose Lima now has the effective race lead, depending on whether he pits again or not. But yeah, interesting to see, wasn't that, Lorenzo, that Craig was set to do a one-stop and then he decided to pit. So obviously maybe he just decided that the one-stop wasn't worth it and that he was going to lose too much time, and it's just sort of thought, I'll go two stops instead.
I'm thinking, I think the fact that that could be into play right now is the fact that he was losing a lot of time to compare to Hempus. I think he was putting a little bit of a gap on Hempus Soderberg. Saw that he was losing time. I think the wear on the rear tire is going to be bigger than he expected, and Aaron done the same thing. So it could play into effect that in the last few minutes you might have an advantage over all drivers. You never know. It's unknown factor right now. It's a question mark factor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to all be explained towards the last portion of this race, and we really find out the true pace of everyone. So Frank Sting, by the way, just getting past Frank Overen, but again, I think Frank there just letting him go really, because again, Van Overen's on a very different strategy to Franklin right now, so there's no real point in him fighting for that, even though it is for position. It was a matter of time before Franklin got him. So Frank drops back down to ninth spot, and again, he's one of the guys who's yet to stop. Again, he's only stopped one time. It's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. But yeah, as you say, it's definitely would be possible that he maybe was watching that gap back to Hampus. He would have been able to see that gap because in his HUD, he would have been able to see the gap to Hampus back in third or fourth spot. So he would have been able to see that gap, and you're right, I reckon he possibly may have been just going along thinking, I'll go to one stop, and then he would have been watching it, and maybe he just saw Hampus closing pretty quickly and thought, maybe this one stop isn't the way to go, and he decided in the end to go for a pit stop instead. But we'll see, as I said, as it all pans out in this final portion of the race. So Jose Lima still going around, as is Theo Vanbrick. 6.3 seconds that hampers off Jose, and I don't think that's actually closing as quickly as I thought it would at this point of the race. They've got about 15 minutes to go in this race, and I'll tell you what, I don't know. I mean, again, it's 15 minutes, so you're looking at about sort of probably 12, 13 laps to go in this race, thereabouts. But I don't know, we'll see. I mean, Hampus is closing probably pretty consistently about a sector, about 1/10 a sector, roughly. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure he'll be able to get at least Jose. I mean, I reckon he'll probably get Theo. I don't know if he can get Lima. We'll see. I mean, it's all going to pan out, as I said, in the last. It's really going to be a matter of how much the likes of Theo and Jose lose in the last kind of 5 minutes, because at that point, that's probably when the tyres are really going to start hurting in those last few minutes of the race. So it's going to be interesting to see. Is actually, okay, I thought Theo was going to peel off there, he doesn't. So, as I said, it's at this phase. We're not far off 10 minutes to go. I reckon at this point, if you're going to do the one stop, I think you're pretty much committed at this point. So I reckon Jose, Theo, Tamas, if he does go around and not pit, Sergio Mengel and the likes, I think they're pretty much committed now to a one stop. I think it's a bit too late to pit, because if you pit now, I don't think you get enough time to really gain back the time you lose from that late stop. So we'll see how he goes. By the way, Ernan now on the back of Tamas Pazzi's 5th spot. I reckon Ernan, again, he should pretty easily make this stick, because he is on much fresher tyres than Tamas, so he should get it done. Although Pazzi is holding the inside line, he may actually hold it in turn 1, but again, Ernan has the grip advantage, but he'll have to go around a long way here. But he's still on the race, he's still on the grippy part of the track right now. I think he'll get it done. Very nice move, nice stuff there. I mean, he's got the grip advantage, but still, very nice little outside move on Pazzi, and that should be a done and dusted move, and he should be able to gallop away now in 5th spot. Sergio Mengel is his next target, a good 9 seconds up the road. Craig Patterson, by the way, is next up behind Pazzi, and he's about 7 seconds or so. So it's all very interesting, all panning out now. Frank Van Overen is 8th, as I say. Frank Steiny is 8th, Van Overen 9th, and Alex is still holding on to 10th in that Fujifilm. Number 76, Cooper with Bram in 11th spot. He's just outside the top 10, obviously having done 2 stops. And yeah, no more DNFs at the moment. I think Razvan is the only DNF, although Louise and Matthias in the Sonic Racing 2 cars DQ'd. He did 29 laps and he was DQ'd, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but yeah, a bit of an interesting retirement. But either way, he's still Jose Lima leading. He's 2.5 seconds now clear of Theo Vanbrick, who seems to be really struggling at the moment in that Kika Racing car. He seems to be really having a bit of a hard time.
Sorry, Thomas. I was watching right now the lap by lap. There's a high chance that Hampus might catch the Theo. Last lap, he actually cut down 1 second, and that might be the trend.
Yeah, so you're right. Looks like Hampus is really closing in. He's got 5.5 to the lead, so he's gained last few laps. He's gained about sort of 6 or 7 tenths to Jose, so he's only gaining a couple of tenths a lap. But again, I suspect that gap is going to keep coming down. And keep coming down more dramatically as the laps go down, because I suspect, as it was being discussed in the chat, I suspect, though, especially in the last kind of sort of 5-10 minutes, I think the ones who've done the one stop, their tyres are really going to start hurting in those last few minutes. That's when they're going to lose a lot of their time, I suspect. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hampus in the last kind of 5 minutes of this race really starts to gain big time on the likes of Lima and Theo. And I think you're right. I reckon he might have Theo very soon, because he really is struggling. He's dropped even more time to Jose. So Theo now 3.4 seconds off the lead. That's 3.4. So I think Theo really struggling on these tyres in this late phase of the race as we go along now with just over 10 minutes to go in this race. So I think we could be having a very fascinating battle here for the lead and second spot as the Hampus comes through the field. Again, there's a pretty big gap back to Sergio Mengel in 4th, with Ernan now in 5th spot, having cleared Pazzi, and Craig Patterson's coming at Pazzi pretty quickly, on those fresh tyres, so keep an eye on that battle. But yeah, very interesting stuff, isn't it, Lorenzo, that we could have a very juicy battle developing towards the end of the race.
And down the line, it's going to be like, oh, hell breaks loose. And now, I think, good luck, Theo Vandenbrink, trying to defend Hampus, because right now there's no one else for Theo to actually have on traffic right behind them. It's going to be now a man-to-man battle. But I'm noticing, too, a little bit of a pattern that Hamper is also catching up, not as quickly as you would imagine to, but he's actually catching up on Jose Lima slowly. I think one key factor for Jose to get lose a little bit of time, not only the tires, you have the traffic coming up ahead, and for the next 10 minutes, well, fasten your seatbelts.
Indeed, yeah, no, agreed. So we've got a very, very juicy battle developing here in the last portion of this race, with just about 10 minutes pretty much on the nose to go in this race. And look at that, Theo Van Rijk is really, really in the next lap or two, I think he's going to come under big pressure from Hampus. And they're just coming through some traffic now. He's got a few traffic cars actually to go through now. So this could help him a little bit, but I don't think it's going to have the sort of effect that he's possibly hoping for. He's going to have to just hope that Hampus catches the traffic at a really awkward time. So otherwise, at this point, it's looking to me like Theo may well come under big pressure from Hampus in the next couple of laps. So it's a very fascinating battle developing. But I don't know. It's as you say, he's closing, and he has been closing consistently, Hampus on Lima as well. But I don't know if he's closing as quickly as he needs to, because it's still 4.5 seconds, and we've only got under 10 minutes to go now, so we've only probably got sort of 6 or 7-ish laps to go in this race, and he's got to still close in a good 4.5 seconds. So I don't know if he's going to get Jose. If Jose can keep it clean and keep it consistent, I mean, I know the tyres are going to be hurting a lot at this point, but if he can just try and keep it really consistent, really clean, and just drive again to the tyres, then he may actually have a chance of winning this one on one less stop. We will see though. Look at this, Hampus is now right behind Theo Van Rijk. He closed in like an absolute freight train in that last sector, and let's have a look and see if he has a look. He's not really close enough just yet, so he'll probably just stick in behind. But I really think he's going to get him this lap for sure. He's right behind Theo, and again, that pace advantage is just too much right now for Theo to hold on. So I reckon he might even have a look here into the right hander. Let's have a look. Will he switch through, or is he just going to try the outside? No, he's going to hold station for the moment. But you'd think surely, at some point in this lap, you'd think Hampus should surely get Theo for the move. And look at this, as they go down towards the right hander, I think he might even try now. So Theo gets a bit of a tardy exit there with the worn tyres, and I think Hampus is just going to outbrake him, or is he going to try to switch back? He might try to switch back. Theo going a little bit deep. Not too much, actually. Did a pretty good job of pulling up there.
Really quickly, Thomas, about Theo. I raced with Theo in Season 9. Hampus, I know he's a good driver, but good luck. Theo is a very good defender. You never know what's going to happen to the curve. Oh, Hampus and Theo, they touched each other. Oh, this is going to be tense now.
Yeah, I saw it too, yeah. So just through there's a little bit of contact again. Oh, bit of contact there as well. So Hampus getting very desperate to try and get past Theo. I think he might just get done maybe through the right hander. The left hander. He's on the inside. Again, got those fresh tyres, but he should just have it done. He does, but Theo is right there, and you can bet your bottom dollar he is going to fight back, because this is the second spot for effective position. So he will fight back, and he has the slipstream now as they head down towards turn 1. Let's see if he's going to have a look. He does. He slips out from the slipstream, has looked down the inside, but look at that grip advantage. Hampus just has too much grip, and I think he's now got that done on Theo. So, but good defending from Theo either way, because again, as I said, that grip advantage is very extreme right now. I mean, Hampus has much fresher tyres, has much more pace, but good stuff from Theo there to put up a pretty hard, stiff fight with Hampus. But Hampus gets it done, and he now moves into effective second spot, 4.5 seconds off Jose Lima. And again, that gap is coming down every lap. It's down to about 7 minutes now, about to go in this race, and Hampus has now got clear track ahead of him to try and catch up to Jose Lima. It's 4.5 seconds, so in 6 or 7 laps, or even not even that, probably 4 or 5 laps now to go-ish, thereabouts. He's going to have to probably close at near on a second a lap. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. I mean, if Jose, as I said, if he can just keep it nice and clean and keep it straight and narrow, then I think he's got a real chance of winning this race. So keep eye on that for you. But at this point, the ball is pretty much in Jose's court, and depending on what he does with those worn tyres, there's a bit of switching going on. It's a battle for 11th. It is, yeah. It's Ricardo Martins and Sean Jacob is just switching position. That's the battle for a 12th spot. And also Alex Dominic Antonio is under pressure from... Oh, no, he's just passed, Frank Van Overen, who's, by the way, one of the one-stoppers. So he's only stopped once, and he's dropping back through the field now as he has the tyre round stop. He's dropping down to 11th spot in this race. Where are the other ones, the one-stoppers? So Craig Patterson now is also just about to catch up to the back of Tamas Pazzi, also one of the one-stoppers in 6th spot. And also Sergio Mengels, also another one of the one-stoppers, and he's getting caught pretty rapidly by Erman. So we've got a few battles here which are just coming to fruition in the last few laps. We'll keep an eye on them for you as we go along. I reckon the one to watch at the moment as I try and pick out of the two that I'm looking at here. I reckon probably Craig Patterson's the one to watch now. This is the battle for 6th spot. He's been closing it on Pazzi at a pretty rapid rate again because he's on fresher tyres than the car ahead and with obviously not even to save as much fuel than Tamas. So I reckon Craig is going to be pretty close to having a go. As Tamas already defending into the left-hander. He's already on the defensive big time here, and Craig's only just caught up to him. So, yeah, very interesting to see here as they go along in the last few, sort of heading towards the last 5 minutes or so of this race. And it is very fascinating indeed. And that battle, as I said as well, for the 4th spot is also very close. So we've got a few battles here in the top 10, which are all coming to a head, really, in the last little phase of this race. So keep an eye on this battle for 6th spot because Tamas is going to have to defend heavily now from Craig Patterson in the battle for 6th spot. The lead 3.5 seconds too, by the way, so Hampers closing, but at this point it's advantage Lima still as we enter the last 5 minutes. But here we go through the final corner now for Tamas Pazzi. He's under big pressure from Craig Patterson here as we go along down the main straight, and surely you got to think Craig Patterson's going to get this done. Tamas is going to go defensive. He's getting straight to the inside. He knows what's going on here. But I reckon Craig's going to have him. He's got such a grip advantage that surely he's just going to try and hold it around the outside. He should be able to do it easily, really, with how much grip he's got compared to Tamas. And he's going to break later. Oh, I reckon he should do it.
I've been noticing. I think Jose is trying to save fuel. He's going 1 year above than the ideal one. And right now, he just lost right about 3/10 of a second on Hampus. So I believe Hampus is going to catch up right about the 2-minute mark in this race. You never know. But this is going to turn out a very good fight if it happens, of course.
For the race now. So, as you say, it's 2.9 now. So Hampus is closing very quickly. As you say, Jose having to do some pretty heavy fuel saving now as we enter the last phase of the race. And 2.6, he gained another 3/10 in that last sector alone. So I reckon you're right. I reckon by about 2 or 3 minutes to go, he might well be able to get that lead back. So we'll see. I'm watching that. I'll watch that at the corner of the eye, but I'm having a look through at the other battles. Ernan has gotten past Sergio, so he now moves back up at the 4th spot. And Craig Patterson's also gotten past Tamas Pazzi there for the 6th spot. So those two battles have now sorted themselves out. And also Franklin Steen, by the way, he's also been catching Tamas Pazzi as well. And now he's going to be fighting for that 7th spot now as he goes along. Our pole sitter, by the way, remember Franklin Steen got pole, but he unfortunately has had a bit of a troublesome race. Hasn't quite had the race pace that he probably wanted after that qualifying effort. And he's down in 8th spot at the moment, having done those 2 stops. And looking like, I think he should get Pazzi, I would say. Again, he's got a pretty major advantage on pace, so I would expect him to get Tamas before the end of the race at this point. But either way, it'll only be a 7th spot, which I suspect Franklin probably would have been aiming for a little bit higher after being on pole, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how that all goes, though, as we enter the last phase of this race. 1.7 seconds, so I reckon you're right, Rose. I reckon you pretty much pipped it right on cue. I reckon just under 2 minutes to go, and I reckon Hampus will be on the back of Jose Lima. So good pick in the end. On that one as they go along. He's crossed the line now. Let's have a look. It's got to be 1.5 seconds, surely. Yeah, 1.3. Wow, he gained 4/10 in that last sector alone. So Lima having to go some pretty major defense here in the last phase as this goes on, and it's all coming to a head now, as we get in this last portion of the race.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be funny, cool, exciting, and crazy because 2 minutes to go, 2 laps to go. I'm just going to say this. I just want to watch the rest of it. This is going to be bad crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice battle here towards the end of the race. So he's got a second now, Jose Lima, to Hampus Soderberg. So 1 second is the gap between these two at the front end of the field. 18 minutes of racing, and it's all come down to this.
5/10 of a second.
Yeah, it's closing very rapidly. Jose is really struggling now as we head towards the last bit of this race. We're probably going to only have 1, maybe 2 laps max to go in this race. We'll see as we go. Look at his Hampus is right on him. I think he's going to get him already into turn 1. He might even get him the final corner. He's that much quicker than Jose. Jose is really struggling in this last point of the race. He's having to defend so much and save so much fuel that he's really losing time. Look, his Hampus is right behind as they go down the straight. So Jose's going to go defensive in the inside line as they head down the straight. But surely Hampus is going to get him. Even if this is the final lap, he's got plenty of time. Yeah, he's losing so much time having to save fuel. Look, this Hampus is probably just going to go clean around outside. Is he? Oh, that was a bit awkward. I
Oh,
think, yeah, Hampus may have had a little bit of lag there. He kind of phased into Lima. That was a bit awkward. But either way, he looks like he's got it done. He has. So Hampus round the outside at turn one, just showing how much more grip he has in that car. And I reckon that's it. I reckon he's got it done. And that's effectively him, should have this surely. And look at that, he's already opened up half a second in pretty much one corner. And I reckon that is that done. So great stuff from Hampus in the end. He's managed to get through. Lima's trying. He's trying to get back as best he can. He just doesn't have the grip or the fuel or pretty much the car under him to be able to fight back. So, yeah, there he goes. That they had to do some traffic management there. I think Lima's been flashing his lights trying to warn traffic of what's going on. As they've been getting through some pretty heavy traffic here as they get towards the last phase of this race. But either way, Hampus has managed to get the lead back. Great race from Hampus in the end. He played the strategy to a T, and this is indeed the final lap of the race. So time has run out. He's just coming through the final corner now for the final time, and a fantastic race from Hampus Soderberg. He's going to get the perfect start to this season. Qualified in the top three. He's been very consistent all race long. He's going to win the first round of season 9 of the mini challenge here at Race Time. A great race from Hampus Soderberg. He wins here at round 1 of the season. Jose Lima, though, great drive from him in the end. Qualified, of course, about 6th or 7th, the mid-top 10, and with the strategy, he managed to still finish second, nearly winning, only being 2.4 off the lead, and only losing that lead in the final lap. So great stuff from Jose to hold on to second spot with strategy. Theo Vanbrink managed to bring it home in third spot, so a podium for Theo. Great stuff from him after qualifying outside the top 10. And again, just using strategy to get back into that race with track position. So great stuff from Theo to be on the podium there. Erhan there managed to be in 4th spot in the Red Bull entry, the number 14 mini. So again, he was one of the 2 stoppers and managed to come home in 4th. So a good solid start, I think, will be what he'll take from that. Again, qualified in the top 3, but strategy meant he finishes 4th. Sergio Mengel, another one of the big benefactors in the strategy. He also one stops and gets top 5 out of it after qualifying in midfield. Good stuff from Sergio. Craig Patterson ends up 6th, having to stop there for a second stop a little later in the race, but still top 6 is a good solid start for him. Frankenstein ends up in 7th spot in the Bose Stinging Racing Mini Cooper, and again, I think he'll be probably a little bit disappointed with himself there. I think he would have been expecting a little bit better result-wise, especially with his pace in the end. But strategy and just consistency, I guess, didn't quite work out for Franklin. So probably a little bit of a disappointment there for him being 7th. But still, good solid start, good points to start off his season. Thomas Pazzi ends up holding on to 8th spot there with the one-stop strategy. Alex Dominic Antonio in the Wolf Racing Fujifilm Cooper, the number 76, he ends up 9th. So again, good solid start from him. Frank Van Overen ends up holding on to the top 10. Again, another one of the one-stoppers and gets a top 10 out of that. So good stuff from Frank after, once again, qualifying, I think, in the high teens or thereabouts in qualifying. So good drive from him to round out the top 10 of this race. The top 13 the top 13 end up on the lead lap out of the field. So a good half the field ends up a lap down at least, with a couple 2 or 3 laps down. We did actually have another, only the one retirement in the end in terms of playing retirement. That was Razvan in the pit lane, of course. Remember in the Caterpillar Cooper having that random DNF, it seemed, in the pit lane. Again, not entirely sure what happened there, but either way, that cost him that. And then we had a couple of DQs as well, of course, with Will New and Matthias there having the DQs. So there you go. That's round 1 done of the Mini Coopers. As my AMS crashes as we try and go to the next thing. So yeah, so very fascinating race that was, Lorenzo. A lot happened, didn't it? We had strategy, we had really close battles. I mean, it pretty much had everything you want out of a race.
Oh yeah, indeed. We had action from the first lap to the very last lap. It was an outstanding race. I think the coolest race I ever watched, and had the chance to commentate in Race Department and during my short career as a broadcaster and racer. Before we go into interviews, let me ask you, Thomas, how many laps you were guessing would be?
I said 65, I think, was my guess.
All right, that was close though. It was 59.
Oh, okay, yep. It was a little bit too much. Not too bad. I was expecting to be a good, 20 laps off the actual laps, and I would have just been like, well, that sounds about right. But yeah, okay, there you go. So yeah, 59 lap race in the end, which it does actually, mate. That's about where it would be. So yeah, very, very fascinating race. I think it had pretty much everything, as we said. It had all you really want. out of a race, out of an 80-minute long mini race. I hope you guys enjoyed on the stream as we come towards the end of the broadcast. I actually don't know if we'll have interviews. Yeah, I think we might actually. It's not like anyone's jumping now, so I reckon we might actually be done. Possibly, we'll wrap up, I guess, in that case. Next round is obviously at the Arena, and that's actually a really fascinating track too. That one, it's a very different track. So it's the Lundarina Long. Actually, we do have an interview. There we go. So that's good. So we're gonna have a few interviews. But we'll just quickly, I'll wrap up what I was saying anyway. So it's Lundarina. I'm going to get this right one day, trust me. Apparently English is just going out the window right now. Lundarina Long is the track we're going to be doing for the second round of the championship. I actually did that club race with the Lancers there recently, and it was an interesting race. It's it's an odd circuit, I think. It's very tight, and it's got a few interesting complexes of corners, so it's going to... we will see. We'll see. I expect it to be one that's going to provide some extremely close racing because there's not a lot of room around that track. There really isn't. So we will see how that goes. That's round 2 of the series. That's on the 14th of May for that round. So in 2 weeks' time, 2 weekends away, that will be the next round of the championship. And yeah, there we go. So we do actually have an interviewee in here. So I think it might be the only interview we'll do here post-race. We'll just do a little quick interview before we finish up here. It's Jose Lima, a second spot finisher. Congratulations, Jose, on that second spot. Great race for you there in the end to get that podium with the one-stop strategy. Yeah. How was that for you? Because it looked to us, it looked like you were really struggling at the end there with the tyres and the fuel in those last few laps.
Yes, I only changed one time the tires, and it was very difficult, but it was good.
Good stuff. Congratulations on your second place. Really close when it came down to the line.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you, was always the one pit your strategy, like one pit and then conserve your tires and fuel?
I didn't know because I didn't practice for race, just for times, and I decided that in the warm up. If I don't know, I decided that.
Fair enough, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it all just kind of, I guess, goes on. Depends on how the race pans out and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, fair enough there. So, I guess just the final question for this quick interview, just a real quick one before we round off things here for round 1. Lundarina Long is the second round. That's in 2 weeks' time. There. So, is that a track that you enjoy, or is it one that sort of you're dreading a bit?
I don't know what Lundarina, but I don't know. I only practice in the day.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, yeah, well, it should still be a fascinating race, and as I said, it is a bit of a tighter circuit, so it should be a interesting one to see these minis sort of trying to go around and trying to battle it out for 80 minutes. So thanks for coming in, Jose, for the little interview, and again, congratulations on the second spot.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so just the one interviewer for this round, which is okay, and yeah, as I say, it was a good round of racing. I think good 80 minutes of racing. And yeah, really great start to the season. I think you can't really start it much better than that. We had a lot of close racing, a lot of good fights throughout the entire field, as we saw, not just at the top out, all the way in the midfield as well, especially in the midfield, of course. That battle at the back end of the 10 was very fascinating indeed. So we had battles everywhere. We had the strategy playing a very big part as well. Yeah, it was all there really for this first round, Lorenzo. And I think it's a really good tone for the rest of the season to come.
Oh yeah, if you guys watch this race and you liked it, just watch the other rounds, especially at Londrina, especially that Londrina. I raced at Londrina 3 or 4 weeks ago in a Marcus race. The coolest thing about Londrina is the corkscrew. There is the corkscrew factor. Like you're going like 160, 150, and with this mini cars, he's going to be very exciting to watch. It's a very technical track. It's just like Guaporé. Guaporé is a highly technical track. Pays a toll on your tires. Londrina is the same. And I'm expect to see what I saw today also in Londrina.
Indeed, yeah, I think it's a good little sentiment to pretty much end the broadcast on, to look forward to Londrina and expect more of the same, really close racing, more of the same strategy plays and all that playing out for the second round of the mini challenge here, season 9 of the series at RaceDepartment using the Automobilista simulator. I hope you guys enjoyed the first round. Thomas Hins on behalf of Lorenzo Bonda. Again, thanks for joining me in the commentary. As always a blast. And also, of course, thanks to Dave Van der Ven on the cameras. He's the man giving you all the camera action throughout this broadcast. So again, big thanks to Davey once again for being back on the cameras again for us for this series. So big thanks there. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Lund Arena for round 2 of the Race Department Mini Challenge Season 9.